Chapter 1384 Reward. Chapter 1384 Reward. The scorching lava pond surged and dyed Shi Yang's face red. Vaguely, a terrifying energy fluctuated from deep inside the lava pond. Shi Yang knew that the real body of the forefather dragon lizard hiding inside the lava pond was digesting the broken pieces of asteroids he had recently swallowed to absorb their energy. He was trying to reach the territory ancestor realm. The energy in earth and heaven appeared in many forms. The wind, storm, lightning, a lake, a mountain, and even the lava pond had energy. The warriors and beasts stored energy in their bodies. The crystals, precious treasures, and armor also had energy. There were various types of energy that were rich. The known energies could be categorized as the major energies. The energies from exploding asteroids, comets, lightning, and ice were the major energies. They were the energies that most warriors controlled and used. They filled the warriors' god power ancient tree and gave them supernatural abilities while using their power Upanishads. However, they only controlled the major energies. The warriors couldn't have the power to create the world. They couldn't create new territories and they couldn't terminate the entire sea of stars with only their thoughts. According to the creatures from the Absolute Beginning era, there was another kind of energy called the negative energy or the dark energy. This kind of mysterious energy was invisible and there was no way to sense or recognize it, even though it was always there and affected the existence and the balance of so many territories in the world. This energy had ruled the world for a long time. Unfortunately, not many people could grasp the true meaning of this energy. The ones who understood this energy were usually top experts and they never talked to others about their power. Forefather Dragon Lizard had been stuck in the immortal realm for so many years. He just needed one more step to enter the territory ancestor realm. However, this small step was like a deep chasm that he was never going to be able to cross. It made him helpless and hopeless. He looked at Shi Yang and couldn't hide his excitement. You have only incipient God realm cultivation base. I'm curious. How could you get dark energy? While talking, Dragon Lizard sent a wisp of his soul consciousness into Shi Yang's brain and walked around his sea of consciousness before retreating. Forefather Dragon Lizard was thrilled, his eyes passionate. Right, it's dark energy. To be honest, I didn't get this energy through my own study. Shi Yang understood that this old monster had profound knowledge. He didn't dare to lie to him, so he just talked indifferently. I got dark energy from an absolute beginning creature. It was hurt badly at that time, so the pure energy in its body was oozing out. I was accidentally cultivating near it. I had strangely absorbed its pure energy and blood. Then, my bones, veins, and souls transformed. Also, my sea of consciousness had some changes that I can't explain. Shi Yang told him half of the truth. He got dark energy from Hui, but it was because of the devouring power Upanishad. He had eroded Hui's body to completely advance himself and get the energy. Absolute beginning creature? Dragon Lizard looked surprised. What's that creature called? Also, where are you from? How could you encounter a creature from the Absolute Beginning era? Shi Yang frowned. He wasn't about to explain this, so he just said casually, "Forgive me for not telling everything. I can only tell you about the origin of my dark energy. It's something unexpected. It's my usual luck. I can't spread it out." He could see that Dragon Lizard also wanted to use the Absolute Beginning creature to get dark energy and break through the tough gateway. Then what can you do to help me? Dragon Lizard's face darkened. He looked angry. From what you said, you didn't even know how you got dark energy. I think you don't know the power and mysteries of dark energy. What else can you tell me? I can transfer a wisp of dark energy to you so you can take your time to study it. You can learn its mysterious features yourself. Before he got here, Shi Yang had planned this. Giving me a wisp of energy? Dragon Lizard was baffled, his eyes mocking. You think we can solve it easily like that? I know there are two ways to get dark energy. The first way is what you've said by taking the energy from absolute beginning creatures. The other way is to learn it by yourself. You aren't an absolute beginning creature. I can't kill you to take energy by refining you. So, how will the dark energy you're about to send me work? How do you know I'm not an absolute beginning creature? Shi Yang curled his lips. My ancestor was lizard. You know how giant my ancestor was? Let alone my ancestor, do you know how big my real body is? Each of the absolute beginning creatures is bigger than an entire planet. You are too minute. Dragon Lizard wore a disdainful face. Okay. I'm not an absolute beginning creature, but I think my dark energy can help you somehow. Shi Yang didn't mind it. He closed his eyes and sat in front of Dragon Lizard. He condensed a wisp of dark energy in his sea of consciousness and used a space seal to cover it. A wisp of energy flew out from Shi Yang's body and entered Forefather Dragon Lizard's eye. Dragon Lizard frowned and blinked as he drew that invisible seal into his brain. Swoosh! The explosion of the space seal was heard in his head. A flow of strange energy flew away. He wanted to capture it, but it had already vanished. Shi Yang was bewildered as he didn't understand the situation. He had used space energy to shroud a wisp of dark energy, but he didn't imprint his soul seal on it. After it left his body, it disappeared. It couldn't help Forefather Dragon Lizard. Was that your method? Winced Forefather Dragon Lizard. Shi Yang gave a forced smile and tried to squeeze his brain for a solution. At this moment, Du Lei brought Tu Shiqi and Ya Yun to the cave. Tu Shiqi beamed at Shi Yang and then at Dragon Lizard. He smiled casually. You guys are discussing the magical features of dark energy, aren't you? Forefather Dragon Lizard snorted. Although your body is extremely tenacious with formidable power, your transformation of the life form is still not enough, Tu Shiqi smiled. While talking, he threw a jade box to Dragon Lizard. The jade box opened. It seemed like something was inside the box, but they couldn't see anything. But there must be something there. From the dent and the small folds of the fabric inside, there was something that couldn't be seen. Shi Yang was astounded. His mind flickered and he sent dark energy into his eyes. Then, he saw a piece of a bone inside the box. He was very surprised as he looked at Tu Shiqi. A bone. This piece of bone was similar to Bloodthirst's remains that year. It was invisible and the ordinary soul consciousness couldn't see. Shi Yang had to use his dark energy to see it. Yes. It's a piece of a bone. It's the bone of a territory ancestor realm expert after he left. This bone is also called dark material or negative matter. Only the warriors at the territory ancestor realm can become like this after their life form reaches a specific level. Before Tu Shiqi came here, he had prepared well. According to Sir Han Tien of my mysterious Sky Clan, before you can understand dark energy, you have to transform your life from. Only when your body and soul reaches the new height of life can you get that energy. The life form of the absolute beginning creature has reached the peak of existence. That's how they got the power. If we want to reach such a level, we must refine and quench our body and soul to advance our life form. Shi Yang was shocked. Before I got dark energy, it's true that my blood, veins, skeleton, and soul had changed rapidly. After that, I found the magical features of my body and I found another strange energy in my sea of consciousness. He looked at Tu Shiqi. Forefather Dragon Lizard was stunned. He looked immersed in his thoughts as if he had just touched something deep in his heart. He suddenly remembered the time he was still small and weak. Lizard, the absolute beginning creature, had advised him clearly that he must not be lazy in refining and quenching his soul and body. Each of his muscles and cells should have refined thousands of times. That's how he could have a chance to sublimate his soul and body. When he was still small and vulnerable, Lizard told him to continuously cultivate both the body and soul. Aside from just condensing and gathering the energy, his soul and body had to also transform to a specific level. When that happened, he was going to be able to see the magical things that others couldn't. This advice was given a long, long time ago that Forefather Dragon Lizard had almost forgotten it. Today, Tu Shiqi told him Han Tien's experience. Dragon Lizard was startled as tears lingered in his old eyes. My precursor had told me the method a long time ago. Too bad that I have only focused on gathering energy. I had almost forgotten his advice. I didn't know that the body and the soul were the foundation. It's the deepest sorrow of my life. I'm ashamed as I'd failed my precursor's expectations. It should be the first step of the precise path. I'm sure Sing knows this too. He has never reminded you. Tu Shi was compassionate. He felt sorry for forefather Dragon Lizard. This old creature had always wanted to create a good relationship with the Soul Clan, and he had a good friendship with Sing for many years. Throughout these years, Sing had come to be his distinguished guest many times. He'd asked him several times about this, and he got no useful information from him. Refining the body and the soul to evolve the life form was the first step of learning dark energy. The senior experts of the 7 great clans knew this. They had guided their children to pay attention to cultivating the body and the soul, which they had to consider as important as accumulating energy. As Sing was an expert of the Soul Clan, he, of course, knew this. He had always cultivated his body and soul too. But he had never told Dragon Lizard anything. Sing knows this too. Dragon Lizard rolled his eyes, his murderous aura discernible. Well, it's common knowledge in the 7 great clans. Although it's just the first step, the 7 great clans are studying this step carefully, and we think that it's the right path, intervened Yayun faintly. Forefather Dragon Lizard didn't say anything, his breathing short and heavy, and his eyes sparkling with malicious light. After a long time, he had to try really hard to subside the idea of going to kill Sing right now. Suddenly, he threw an orange jade jar to Shiyang. It has an immortal pellet. It can help you reach the immortal realm. It's a reward for your information. Yeah, I got important things to discuss with the 2 guests from the mysterious Sky Clan. Du Lei, you take care of him. Yes, sir, Du Lei answered with great respect. Chapter 1385, Break the Bottleneck. Chapter 1385, Break the Bottleneck. Du Lei took Shiyang back to the surface. Before that, he had already asked his guards to bring Audrey and the Heavenly Eye Clan's members to another area. It was a massive stone hall in another secret corner. It wasn't the open area where the Dragon Lizard clan hosted the other clans. It was an area exclusive to the strong experts of the clan. The stone hall was built inside a broken asteroid. It had cultivating rooms, storages, and also bath areas. However, the entire place didn't have any decorations, jade objects, or patterns carved on the walls. It was the Dragon Lizard clan's style. They didn't like luxurious things. This is where I cultivate, said Du Lei. Each influential member of the Dragon Lizard clan had a private area on Dragon Lizard Star. This stone hall was hidden inside an asteroid. Du Lei had renovated it so it could fly out of Dragon Lizard Star and function as a battleship. Shortly after, the guards of the Dragon Lizard clan had taken Iveline's team and Audrey to the same place. If Forefather asks us to protect you, I'm sure we won't let the Soul Clan disturb you. After the 2 precursors of the mysterious Sky Clan finish their discussion with our ancestor, we'll take them here too. Don't worry. Du Lei said to them, and then asked his subordinates, as long as they don't leave this area, they can do what they want. They can enter all cultivating rooms. If you don't receive any orders, do not disturb them. Then, Du Lei left the stone hall hurriedly. The guards standing outside the hall bowed to him. They've moved us to 2 different places. It seems like the Dragon Lizard clan is still afraid of the Earthgal tribe and the Soul Clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to hide us. Audrey wore a pure white dress, her eye bright but cold. She walked to Shiyang and asked, "How was it?" "Forefather Dragon Lizard will try to protect us." If nothing unexpected happens, he's discussing how to kill Sing now. Shiyang grinned and said to Ivelines and the other 2, "Don't worry. It should be nothing dangerous. Just stay here and cultivate. We'll handle it." He didn't mention Tu Shi and his wife from the mysterious Sky Clan to the other 3. Ivelines guessed that they had hidden something from them, but he was smart enough not to ask further. They scattered and each of them found a room to cultivate in. Shiyang and Audrey had chosen a massive training court tiled with square crystals. Those crystals were really rigid so they could resist energy attacks and hard hits. The domed roof was built high above, which gave them a lot of space to move. He told her what happened when he met up with Forefather Dragon Lizard. Audrey was so astounded. Then, he chose a place to sit down cross-legged and said, "We're safe here for the time being. The Dragon Lizard won't trouble us." We should seize this time and cultivate fast. All right. Audrey sat down opposite to him across the spacious room and folded her straight legs. She closed her eyes. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 wisps of grey souls flew out of the wine jug on her hand. The 3 souls didn't have consciousness. They were just forms of pure soul energy like drifting clouds. She rose one hand and they disappeared into her eyes. Her body shook 3 times. Countless grey-brown, hair-like soul fibers flew out of her body and gave her a peculiar appearance. Shi Yang didn't hurry to cultivate. He observed Audrey instead. She had absorbed the 3 souls at incipient god realm that he had exchanged with his wind thunder stones into her sea of consciousness. Then, Audrey used her power Upanishad to mince them into several thousand soul wisps. They then moved through her veins as she used them to increase her power, making her bones and veins more tenacious. Shi Yang observed her for a while and then smiled. He nodded his head. Audrey was touched because Shi Yang didn't conceal anything Tu Shiqi had told forefather Dragon Lizard. She was trying her best to implement that method. Audrey's usual method was to use the soul to cultivate her soul altar. She hadn't made them move through her body. She did it differently this time because her mind changed. Now she knew that she should focus on refining her veins, blood, and bones. It was to prepare for her breakthrough to the territory ancestor realm. She was always a smart woman. When she heard of a technique, of course, she knew how to make use of it. The members of Imperial Dark Tribe had always focused on cultivating the soul as the soul was the key to their power Upanishad. They didn't really cultivate their bodies. Her way of cultivating today had escaped the original method of Imperial Dark Tribe. With only Shi Yang's one-sided words, she had discarded her tribal methods to start a whole new way of cultivating. It had proven that she was tough and resolute. Also, she trusted Shi Yang wholeheartedly. She thought that Shi Yang would never lie to her and his words were real and as precious as jades and pearls. Shi Yang was happy for her. He believed that with her innate talents and wisdom, once she found the right direction, she would create amazing achievements later. A lightning bolt flashed in his head and cut all turbulent thoughts. Shi Yang became lucid immediately. Without a piece of a junk thought, the orange jade jar that Dragon Lizard had given him emerged in front of him. After a flash, the jar exploded and revealed a strange pellet. The pellet was as big as a longan fruit and it was brilliant despite its strong herbal smell. At a closer look, the pellet was a tiny plant with mountains, lakes, forests, buildings, and even rain and lightning. Shi Yang's eyes became strange as he observed the pellet. He could even see many skeletons inside the buildings. The immortal pellet used a level 7 life star as the foundation and billions of lives on it as the source of energy. Only supernatural experts could refine this sort of pellet. They had shrunk an entire planet billions of times to make it a pellet that could act as the creator to help a third sky of incipient god realm reach the immortal realm. He used to think that it was a fake product. However, after observing the pellet, he had no doubt. A peculiar pellet that looked like a small planet. What could it be if not the immortal pellet? Shi Yang opened his mouth to draw the immortal pellet made of an entire life star into his mouth. It followed his stomach and flew directly toward the God Power Ancient Tree in his lower abdomen. The immortal pellet fell on the God Power Ancient Tree and began to beat like a heart while releasing flows of pure energy. Instantly, innumerable rivers of energy rolled torrentially inside his veins and made his energy fluctuate earth-shakingly. At the same time, he found that billions of souls and soul consciousness of the creatures on the planet had turned into a current of pure soul energy storming toward his soul altar. The pure soul energy fell into his sea of consciousness and impacted with dark energy there. It happened like magnificent fireworks blooming and sending countless beams of light. They sparkingly flooded the tier of power Upanishads, heaven flames, and his host soul. Space, death and life, and star power Upanishads seemed to be stimulated. They used to be separated but now, they suddenly merged into one. It was so strange. A feeling he couldn't describe moved through his heart to the soul altar. He felt as if he had returned to the fountainhead of power Upanishads and was wandering around the seas of death, space, life, and star power Upanishads. The host soul was perplexed. It seemed to leave his body to the world that could receive endless vitality, where he could be everlasting and undying. Rumors said that people at the immortal realm had endless longevity. For example, after the holy beast Azure Dragon had reached the immortal realm, he had lived 100,000 years and he was still vigorous. He had escaped the principle of the life cycle. It was something that incipient God realm experts couldn't do. Although they had long lives, their souls and bodies aged several thousand years. If their vitality got drained, their souls were weakened altogether. If they couldn't reach the immortal realm, at the end of their life cycle, they withered and died like an old, shriveled tree. Only breaking through to immortal realm would make them immortal. At that time, they could distort nature's principles. They would live forever with abundant vitality. Their souls would always be sound and vigorous. Unless they were killed by stronger experts who could drain their vitality and erase their soul seals, on theory, the immortal realm experts could live forever. It was the immortal realm. The fusion of his power Upanishads and Shi Yang's host soul made him feel something magical. However, another soul of his was placid. He found that the heaven flames that hadn't had any progress were stimulated by the immortal pellet. Slowly, they were about to fuse with each other again. Besides the primal chaos sacred flame, the other flames had stuck together magically and created a magnificent, colorful sea of flame. At first, they were like bands of a torn fabric sheet. Right now, they were slowly gathering as if they wanted to fully recover. The heaven flame tier had become a sea of fire. Shi Yang's co-soul drifted above the sea of fire and looked at the heaven flames fusing with each other. An immortal pellet had triggered many things magical to his body. While he was heading to the immortal realm, many things strange in his body burned. The commotions that Shi Yang and Audrey had created when they were cultivating weren't small. Soon, Ivelines and the members of the Heavenly Eye clan had recognized the strange commotions. They gathered outside the room Shi Yang and Audrey were cultivating in. The stone room was closed, but the energy fluctuating inside was really chaotic and formidable. Apparently, it was turbulent energy that appeared when someone was breaking through. Audrey is reaching second sky of incipient God realm and that man is entering the immortal realm. Ivelines had experience. He understood it right away. Now, we need to watch over them. During this time, we won't allow the members of the Dragon Lizard clan to enter the place. It seems like we got the immortal pellet after meeting up with forefather Dragon Lizard. Mosha looked yearning. She had followed her two seniors to this place with the hope of getting one of the immortal pellets. Today, seeing Shi Yang cultivate with that pellet, she admired him a lot. Sigh. We don't have this fortune. But if he can reach the immortal realm, with his dark energy, his competence will be extremely formidable, said Ivelines with a lot of emotions. Chapter 1386, Cut the Flesh. Chapter 1386, Cut the Flesh. Dragon Lizard Star had a massive pit where a lot of special palaces and buildings specified to serve different clans were built. They even built lakes with some islets for water tribe members to stay in. It was the gathering area of second-class clans. Delegations from different clans didn't need to endure staying inside the stone caves of the Dragon Lizard clan. They could stay in this area with more suitable conditions. Just like Du Lei, Walker was one of forefather Dragon Lizard's subordinates who was in charge of this area. He had second sky of immortal realm. While discussing important matters with Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe, Walker suddenly felt his heart beat faster. He looked outside and his face changed immediately. He left the palace where the Water Tribe stayed quickly. Yuan Mo was the Water Tribe's handsome man who Shi Yang and Audrey had encountered on the way here. At this moment, Yuan Mo lifted his head, his face solemn. Sing was coming with countless departed souls and ghosts underneath his body like a big, dark cloud. There were hundreds of thousands of them and it pressured people terrifyingly. Sing slowly descended with many members of the Soul clan serving him respectfully. Also, he had many souls of beautiful women who looked both cold and elegant as they massaged his shoulders and legs. They made his emergence more dazzling. A crowd of many warriors from different second-class clans were gathering and seeing Sing of the Soul clan descending arrogantly. They discolored and lowered their voices. The Earth Ghoul tribe lodged near here, So many people had seen Barago leave with rage. As they saw Singh come, they thought that he wanted to find Barago to ask for some information or to request them to find Tusha Chi and his wife. Many people knew this. They thought that Singh came personally because the Earthgal tribe was slow in reporting their works. Yuan Mo was the head of the Water tribe by chance this time. Since they didn't get along well with the Earthgal tribe, Yuan Mo knew a lot of things. Seeing Singh come, he was anxious because he was worried that Singh would trouble the Water tribe. A graceful figure emerged from a quiet tower in the palace behind him. It was a plump woman who wore a long blue cloak that embraced her round rear end. Her face was covered under a jade mask, which looked ferocious like a demon showing its fangs. She moved slightly and reappeared inaudibly by Yuan Mo. A pair of deep azure eyes looked at Singh and a soft voice came, "Don't worry. I'm here with you guys. Singh won't dare to do anything to you. Yeah, he doesn't look like he came because of you guys." The life energy on her body was vague and her breath wasn't steady. She gave people an impression of something from a fantasy. Only Yuan Mo knew that the fearsome mask she was wearing had covered her earth-shaking aura. It made her ordinary, which didn't draw attention from others. As Yuan Mo knew her identity, his words and gestures showed his respect. He bowed and said, "I'm afraid that Singh will cause trouble when he finds you." The woman chuckled. "Singh is just a commander in the Soul Clan. Even if he finds me here, there will be no trouble. Yeah, I came here this time because of the forefather dragon lizard's immortal pellet. I just want to find an item that can secure my junior's breakthrough. Singh won't dare to provoke me." Listening to her, Yuan Mo could finally rest his restless mind. He still kept his body bent. Then, he lifted his head to look at Singh, wondering why he came here this time. "Is that Walker?" Singh's dark voice arose and echoed around this large pit. Apparently, he didn't want to conceal his intentions. Walker was at second sky of Immortal Realm. He was one of the experts with a profound cultivation base in the Dragon Lizard clan. Hearing Singh's question, he answered with a stern face, "I'm here. I don't want to walk around the bush. Barago of the Earthgal tribe, his soul lamp is extinguished. His soul must be destroyed. I just want to know who did it." Singh had a cold light sparkle in his eyes. His voice thundered and reached each palace in this massive pit. "If you want to hit my dog, you have to look at my face first. Barago is my soul clan's hound. I want to know who killed him." Apparently, he came to send his punitive forces arrogantly. The energy from his body fluctuated fiercely. So many vague souls were conjured. They turned into a gruesome mountain and bobbed behind him, showing fangs and claws. A wisp of soul consciousness was sent toward the second-class forces to find the possible murderer at the High Realm. Singh had never thought that Barago would be killed by Shiyang, a warrior at incipient God Realm. He thought that the one who could kill Barago had an equivalent realm. He assumed that the murderer was here and mingling in the crowd. He had a premonition that it was Tusha Chi's trick. He had to find them quickly. With this recent deed, he didn't put the Dragon Lizard clan or Walter in his eyes. "Barago is dead." Walker pretended to know nothing. He shook his head with a bewildered countenance. "I didn't know that. Please give me more time. After I find the results, I will answer to you." He had received the news from Dulei, but he wanted to stall for as long as possible. "Mwahaha, I know it's related to the Heavenly Eye clan. They're just a third-class clan. They dared to attack a clan dependent on our soul clan. I think this Heavenly Eye clan doesn't want to live anymore." Singh smiled darkly. "I'm going to search to see if they're here. Then, I will check every corner. I don't think I can't find them." While talking, his soul consciousness moved around like a gust of wind, rummaging through the entire area. Many palaces of the second-class clans were under attack. The warriors in there felt their soul altars flicker anxiously. They were so scared. No one dared to shout or curse. They knew that they weren't an equal match to the Soul Clan, and they knew that Singh was powerful. They could only endure it. Singh's soul Tondo swept around and entered the lake of the Water tribe, reaching Yuan Mo. Shortly after, Singh looked baffled. He hesitated for a while and then glided through Walker, heading to the Water tribe. He looked at the plump woman with the fearsome mask and asked with a stern face. "Who are you?" The woman sneered and said faintly, "I'm here for the forefather dragon lizard's immortal pellet." "Right, there's something I want to make clear." She turned to Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe. "From now on, our Phantom Clan will protect the Water Tribe. I hope that the chief of the Soul Clan will pay attention and not let your dogs bark and bite around." Singh discolored and gazed at the woman, furrowing his brows. "Is Barago's death related to you? Do you think that kind of thing is worth my effort?" sneered the woman. Singh contemplated and then nodded. "I'll talk to the Earthgal forefather so they don't trouble the Water Tribe furthermore. Our Soul Clan doesn't have any dispute with your Phantom Clan. I don't expect that the two clans will fight against each other because of the Earthgal tribe and the Water Tribe." Then, he nodded to say farewell to her without his haughty visage. He left immediately to another area. He didn't care about Walker because he didn't really consider the Dragon Lizard clan important or dangerous. Yuan Mo was tense. Seeing Singh proactively say that he would ask the Earthgal's forefather to control his tribe, Yuan Mo was very excited. He thought that his Water Tribe had made the right decision to be dependent on the Phantom Clan. They wouldn't need to give way to the Earthgal tribe anymore. Finally, he understood how good it was to have a big backup. Then, he turned to Walker of the Dragon Lizard clan and sighed. The Dragon Lizard clan was also a second-class force. Before Lizard had disappeared, the Dragon Lizard clan had been the overlord in this area. Even the territory ancestor realm experts of the 7 clans had to respect him, and every other clan had to be afraid of his clan. After Lizard had returned to Mother Earth and the forefather Dragon Lizard, the second generation couldn't break through to territory ancestor realm. The Dragon Lizard clan gradually declined, and now, even the Earthgal tribe dared to bully them. Yuan Mo thought that only if the Dragon Lizard clan agreed to follow one of the 7 great clan, they would have steadied and they would have been able to stand upright again. Otherwise, their lives were going to be much more difficult later. The Soul Clan and the mysterious Sky Clan have often battled. Now, they don't dare to offend me. "Don't worry," said the woman, her voice hiding her proud feelings. As the Phantom Clan was one of the 7 great clans, their overall competence wasn't weaker than the Soul Clan. It was the reason why she got excited. "There's something I want to tell you. On the way here, we met the members of the Heavenly Eye clan. They went together with a couple who came from desolate territory. They seemed lost. They wanted to find their way home through Singh's brutal soul called Ming Hong." Yuan Mo suddenly recalled the event. "I remembered that you guys were interested in desolate territory. I wonder if you can use this information. Someone from desolate territory got lost." The woman's eyes sparkled strangely and showed her interest. "It's strange. It seems like the Dragon Lizard clan is trying to protect them. It's inexplicable. It seems like the friendship between Singh and Dragon Lizard isn't as close as it was rumored." She pondered and then said, "You guys have a good relationship with the Dragon Lizard clan. Can you arrange for me to meet forefather Dragon Lizard?" "Right, you can tell them my identity. Perhaps Dragon Lizard will find me interesting." "Okay, let me try." Yuan Mo lifted his head and called Walker. "Walker, brother. Please get down here so we can talk for a while." Lava pond. Extremely terrifying roaring and shrieking came from inside the lava pond while the entire pond seethed torrentially. Tu Shichi and his wife Ya Yun were using their powers Upanishad to create layers of barriers sealing this area and making it soundproof. They didn't want others to recognize the commotion here. The clone of Dragon Lizard floated above the pond and released the ultimate energy fluctuations as he was trying to pull something under the pond. After a while, a big chunk of red meat emerged from the scorching lava pond and floated up. It was bloody and the veins in the meat were still full of blood. A palm-sized, 3-legged cauldron stuck on a small spot on the meat. It was connected to a vein like a blood-sucking leech. Dragon Lizard looked ashen when he coughed and tried to subside his anger. "This soul-refining cauldron has stuck on my flesh. Once it detaches from my flesh, Singh will know immediately. I have to do that. I have to cut a piece of meat to deceive him. He won't know what I've done. Forefather, you're not an ordinary warrior, indeed. You can clench your jaw to cut off a big chunk of meat like that." This time, Sing will receive his bad luck, appraised Tu Shi. He knew that a creature like Forefather Dragon Lizard would have to endure tremendous pain when he cut off the meat that had contained his power. This old monster had made up his mind to do that to eliminate the threat from the soul-refining cauldron without letting Sing know. Since Sing has done this to me, of course, I must let him taste my power. He thought he could bully me. Damn it. Dragon Lizard was foul-mouthed as he was outraged. This time, not only will I kill Sing, but that bastard from the Earthgal tribe will also be taken care of. They thought the Soul Clan could protect them, so they have provoked us a lot, those damned Gowls. Our mysterious Sky Clan will be your backup. We will try our best to help you. Tu Shi laughed excitedly. Chapter 1387 Festival. Chapter 1387 Festival. Du Lei stood in front of the door of the stone hall, his face dark and uncertain. Many guards of the Dragon Lizard clan were gathering around him. Most of them had relatively high realms. We must use our life energy to conceal the aura inside. We have to ensure that Sing can't find the commotion here. After a while, Du Lei let out a low shout. At this moment, Sing was in the area where the Dragon Lizard clan accommodated the warriors from many clans. He was raking around and trying to use his soul consciousness to find the Heavenly Eye clan members. He wanted to pull the murderers who killed the Earthgal tribe warriors out of their cave. Du Lei knew that Forefather Dragon Lizard was trying his best to get rid of the Soul Clan's soul-refining cauldron. For the time being, he couldn't come out to solve this problem. Now, they had to ensure that Soul Clan, Audrey, and the others were all right. Right when Sing began his search, he immediately came to this hall to take Shiyang and Audrey out of Dragon Lizard Star. However, Ivelines told him that Shiyang and Audrey were cultivating and they were at the critical moment of their breakthrough. They couldn't be disturbed now. Troubles came together. Du Lei had a terrible headache. He didn't have any solution better than calling the experts at his realm to this area. Du Lei, I heard that Forefather wants to attack Sing. Di Feng, who was also at Second Sky of Immortal Realm, asked with a fierce, bloodthirsty countenance. I've endured those bastards of the Earthgal tribe for long enough. If our Forefather has made up his mind, I'll be the first one to attack them. Don't say such nonsense. We have to take care of the main business first. We can't let Sing discover this area. Otherwise, we can't answer Forefather's questions, shouted Du Lei. Di Feng threw a glance at the hall behind him and said disdainfully, will our Forefather be irritated because of the members of the Heavenly Eye clan and the two kids at Incipient God Realm? One of them has dark energy. He talked to Forefather. Forefather asked us to ensure that he won't get murdered. Du Lei screamed. Don't babble. Do it quickly. It'll be a lot of trouble if Sing comes here. The warrior who controls dark energy. The warriors of the Dragon Lizard clan at Immortal Realm became bewildered from listening to Du Lei. They turned around to look at the door of the room Shiyang and Audrey were cultivating in, their faces odd. Right after that, the Immortal Realm experts put on serious faces when the life energy emitted from their bodies like mist that naked eyes could observe. Slowly, that mist shrouded the entire stone hall. Du Lei's team was using their life energy to create a barrier that could prevent Sing's soul consciousness from searching. They had to do that because their realm wasn't great enough to prevent Sing from searching. If they wanted to stop him, they had to use their life energy with their Second Sky of Immortal Realm. After they had successfully set up the barrier, they all looked weak, sitting and guarding the stone hall. The other members of the Dragon Lizard clan stood and waited, protecting their precursors. They were afraid of an unexpected situation. Now, Sing took his Soul Clan warriors and moved around the accommodations of the other clans on Dragon Lizard Star. They had created a loud commotion, indeed. He had used his Third Sky of Immortal cultivation base to check around and search the members of the Heavenly Eye clan. Sing didn't really want to take revenge for Barago. He wanted to find the fascinating Divine Eye, Tu Shi and his wife from the mysterious Sky clan. Inside the stone hall, the members of Heavenly Eye clan Ivelines, Adams, and Moshe were sitting in a triangular formation right in front of Shiyang's door. They were also alertly waiting as they were very afraid that someone would disturb them at a critical moment. Inside the training chamber, soul energy twirled around Audrey with many soul filaments. Her body reflected brilliant illusions. A flow of pure soul energy circled her for a while and then slowly entered her soul altar. Her mental state slowly steadied. Her god power ancient tree was filled with surging energy. Then, dim light rays emitted from her body and made her illusory. Shi Yang was sitting across the yard. His body was flashing continuously. Brutal energy shot out from his body. When he reached the immortal realm, negative energy in his acupuncture points discharged to keep his body clean. Wisps of negative energy hovered and scattered around the training yard. When Audrey urged her power Upanishad, the wisps of her soul also fluttered. When they contacted with the negative energies, they became restless and uneasy, so they began to swallow the beams of negative energy. The departed souls and spirits she got became more sinister and brutal after they absorbed Shi Yang's negative energy. Audrey's soul altar was also affected by Shi Yang's aura. She could feel a deeper connection with him. Time flew hurriedly. Inside Shi Yang's head, besides the primal chaos-scared flame, the other flames were fusing with each other and turning into a vast sea of fire. The wonders of chilly to the bone coldness, flashing lightning appeared one after another on Shi Yang's body. It looked like he had mastered many different power Upanishads. When Shi Yang's heaven flames finally fused, a burning light column shot out of Shi Yang's head and rocketed into the sky. The dome above the training court burned and melted. The heaven flame shot up into the sky and burned a hole on the barrier that Du Lei's team had used their life energy to create. The heaven flame continued to burn the cave and got out, shooting into the sky. Water Tribe's accommodation. A scorching flame shot out of the lake where they stayed. Yuan Mo changed his visage. Many members of the Water Tribe around were panic-stricken. They gathered as they didn't know what had just happened. The voluptuous, masked woman of the Phantom clan emerged like a spirit above the lake. Her dark eyes gazed at the scorching light column. What a formidable original flame! Only absolute beginning creatures could control the original flame. What's going on? Has something magical happened to Forefather Dragon Lizard? She pondered for a while and then shook her head. She mumbled, "Nope. It's not true. Lizard didn't cultivate original flame, and original flame can't be inherited. How could he get it?" She was frightened when a possibility popped up in her mind. Is there another absolute beginning creature on this planet? Her beautiful eyes were surprised as she said, "You guys stay here. I'm going there to check. This situation is strange, indeed." Yuan Mo nodded. At the same time, Singh was down because he couldn't find the Heavenly Eye clan members after searching for a long time. When the Heaven Flame column pierced through the barrier and shot through the lake of the Water Tribe, Singh was hovering above a cluster of clouds made of departed souls and ghosts. His eyes brightened immediately and he laughed evilly. He immediately stormed to the stone hall. The lava pond underground. Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi also felt a tremendous commotion. Tu Shi closed his eyes to sense for a while. He got frightened immediately. It's that kid's aura. However, it's obviously the absolute beginning creature's original flame. How could it be? Yun was dumbstruck. He refined desolate, didn't he? I don't know. Tu Shi forced a smile. He didn't understand it, either. Although Forefather Dragon Lizard didn't know much about dark energy, his precursor was Lizard, so his understanding of the absolute beginning creatures was much more profound than Tu Shi and Yun's. He contemplated and then confirmed. It's a soul wisp of the absolute beginning creature fused with his soul seal to create a second soul. His second soul has some magical powers of the absolute beginning creatures. I think all the experts on the Dragon Lizard clan have recognized such a tremendous commotion. Singh will come soon. What should we do now? Asked Yun. Are you okay? Tu Shi looked at Forefather Dragon Lizard. Suddenly, Forefather Dragon Lizard burst out laughing crazily. It's time for a festival. You guys are going to witness me change Dragon Lizard Star. Then, the screeching and howling that could shake the entire place came from the scorching lava pond. From outer space, Dragon Lizard Star was like a massive throbbing heart. So many pieces of broken stars and asteroids began to move. The entire dragon lizard star was like a giant magic cube that was changing continuously. An area suddenly emerged as if some force had dragged it up. The massive pits where the third-class and second-class alien tribes lodged scattered around Dragon Lizard Star where there were previously intact asteroids. Now, they were detaching from Dragon Lizard Star as if the planet was dissolving. From the sea domain of Nihility's point of view, Dragon Lizard Star was like a globe where everything on it was moving. Dragon Lizard Star slowly became a flat continent. It was now a flat continent created by so many broken stars and asteroid. The members of different clans staying in different areas now emerged on different sections of the continent, which all faced the palace in the center. The light column of the original flame shot out from that palace. Du Lei's team was still guarding the front of the stone hall. However, they all grimaced. Sigh, Forefather has chosen this moment to hold the festival. I don't know what he has in his mind. When Dragon Lizard Star turns into a continent, it can't hide anything. Our whereabouts are exposed. Sing will come here soon. Du Lei forced a smile. He knew that Dragon Lizard Star wasn't a real planet. It was formed by countless pieces of broken asteroids. When Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body had some commotion, the entire star shook. When he moved the pieces of broken stars and asteroids to turn Dragon Lizard Star into Dragon Lizard Continent, it was the time of the festival and the worshipping of an ancestor. However, his timing wasn't right. Right now, the warriors of the second-class and third-class clans had seen the original flame in the center, so they were congregating. Those warriors had sensed the absolute beginning creature from that original flame. They were so excited and they stormed like clouds of grasshoppers. They were so curious. The woman of the Phantom clan wanted to get deeper into the lake to check what was going on down there. However, when the entire planet changed, she came with the members of the Water Tribe to the Stone Hall. Her beautiful eyes shot out strange light. The aura of the absolute beginning creature. Haha, it's the aura of the absolute beginning creature, Sing roared. His body floated above the massive mountain made of souls and ghosts as he stormed forward and stumbled people in his way. The members of the Heavenly Eye clan are there too. Excellent. I want to see how you can hide now. He walked to Du Lei's team, his face dark and sinister. He looked at the ground and shouted, "Hey old friend Dragon Lizard, the earth and sky are shaking. You should come out and watch. Yeah. I want to know if you still consider me your friend." Friend? Haha, you're a really good friend. Forefather Dragon Lizard's voice was like thunder that came with tremors. His clone appeared with a red face and waves of terrifying energy. Chapter 1388, Conflict. Chapter 1388, Conflict. Dragon Lizard Star changed from a planet to a flat continent due to Forefather Dragon Lizard's earth-shaking commotion that moved the mountain and leveled the sea. It now appeared as an uneven continent created by pieces of broken stars and asteroids that functioned as tiles on a square. From the horizon, this continent was rough with many deep gorges, strange mountains, caves, and palaces. Now, an original flame column was shooting up into the sky through the dome of a palace in the center of Dragon Lizard Star. The members of the Dragon Lizard clan at Second Sky of Immortal Realm like Du Lei and Di Feng still guarded the stone hall and focused on watching the moves of the alien tribes around. The masked woman with a sexy body from the Phantom clan was with Yuan Mo's delegation. They came by the stone hall and looked bewildered. Hovering in midair, many aliens were watching with surprised and excited countenances. They knew that the Forefather Dragon Lizard wanted to carry out the worship of their ancestor and the festival. A long, long time ago before Lizard died, the Dragon Lizard clan had periodically held the festival. At that time, the Dragon Lizard clan was the leading clan of this area. The members of the other clans had to come to meet Lizard when the time came to show their respect. Lizard held the festival and invited leaders and outstanding experts of the surrounding clans. During the festival, he would explain and teach them the true meanings of power Upanishads and the secrets of the absolute beginning creatures. The Dragon Lizard clan's festival attracted surrounding clans, and even the 7 great clans had to send their delegations to join them. However, after Lizard was gone, the festival wasn't as lively and bustling as before. Although Dragon Lizard, the second generation, still held the festival, most of the participants came under their precursors' orders to worship Lizard and show their gratefulness. Their precursors had received many benefits from Lizard, who explained the power Upanishads. Although Lizard was gone, they were still thankful for him. Whenever the Dragon Lizard clan held the festival, they would send their juniors to worship Lizard. Forefather Dragon Lizard also knew that their festival wasn't as attractive as it used to be. Thus, they often used precious treasures of the clan to exchange with others. For example, the immortal pellet was definitely attractive enough. Because of the pellets, many alien tribes had come regardless of the long journey they had to make to get there. The Phantom Clan woman was near then, and she also came because of the immortal pellets. Singh screamed all the way, knocking over a lot of warriors in his way. He quickly reached the stone hall. So many ghosts and departed souls were floating underneath him like a school of fish. There were 7 brutal souls who were continuously swallowing weak souls around them. They were growing rapidly and turning into brutal ghosts who were more than 30 meters tall. They moved and screamed like vicious ruffians behind Singh with earth-shaking auras. One of those brutal souls was Ming Hong. After Singh had refined him, he couldn't help but follow Singh's orders. He was now a roaring brutal soul too. Ming Hong roared and became bewildered. His evil eyes flashed as he struggled. Finally, he became sane. He was hovering behind Singh and he saw Audrey cultivating inside the stone hall down there. At this moment, Audrey was releasing a lot of soul fibers with familiar energy fluctuations. Ming Hong looked at her and recognized her identity immediately. Audrey was cultivating the soul technique that only Imperial Dark Tribe knew. Also, Audrey's aura was the familiar aura of Imperial Dark Tribe. Singh had kept him for so many years in the sea domain of nihility. He had no way to escape and he had never met anyone from desolate territory. Today, he found a member of his clan who was absolutely his relative. Ming Hong was stunned. Although Singh could control him, he still had his own consciousness. His thoughts flickered fast and he pretended to know nothing. He didn't dare to look at Audrey as he was afraid that Singh could spot something. At this moment, Singh was still shouting and screaming. He called for Forefather Dragon Lizard. Forefather Dragon Lizard laughed loudly, flew up, and floated above the stone hall while looking at Singh. "My good friend, oh, my good friend. I don't know why you are protecting 3 juniors of the Heavenly Eye clan. They killed my men. For our friendship, will you give me a good explanation for that?" Singh wore a dark and sinister face. In front of many aliens, he began to interrogate Dragon Lizard. Singh didn't feel right because of Dragon Lizard clan's strange attitude. "It's our Dragon Lizard clan's territory. The Earthgal tribe members didn't respect our rules. They attempted to kill our guests. They were killed because of that. Do you want me to take responsibility for that?" Forefather Dragon Lizard sneered faintly. He rose one hand and layers of light fell, covering the stone hall where Shiyang and Audrey were cultivating. He looked at Singh and said, "Singh, your dogs are taking it too far. They don't even respect me. You're their master. Shouldn't you strictly punish them?" Singh put on a dark face and stayed quiet. "Oh, what's going on over there?" The woman of the Phantom clan frowned. "Their relationship isn't that bad, is it? I don't understand. Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe didn't understand it, either. I'm not sure. I know that they have a good relationship." Singh came several times to meet Forefather Dragon Lizard. He was always welcomed here. "It's unexpected today, though. What happened? Is there a conflict between them?" asked an alien. "Is it because of the Earthgal tribe? Recently, the Earthgal tribe has acted too far. They don't respect the Dragon Lizard clan at all. We couldn't even imagine that they would dare to act rashly in this festival. Perhaps, they've enraged Forefather Dragon Lizard." "Yeah, maybe. Sigh, it's too bad that Lizard is gone. Otherwise, the Earthgal tribe would have been cleared a long time ago. I remember the time when Lizard was here. Even the 7 great clans had to respect the Dragon Lizard clan well. It seems like without a territory ancestor, the clan could decline." "It's true, indeed. No wonder why Dragon Lizard has tried any mean to break through to territory Ancestor Realm. He won't regret paying any price to do that. He even used the immortal pellets to exchange for a chance to break through. Many members of the alien clans around discussed with each other while Singh stayed quiet. They were so surprised anyway. Singh's face was dark and sinister. His eyes raked through the crowd and made them chilled to the bones. They had to stoop to avoid his eyes. When his line of sight fell on the masked woman of the Phantom Clan, he was bewildered for a while. He nodded to her and didn't look further. Yeah, the Earthgal tribe made mistakes this time. Old friend, please forgive us. I will warn the Earthgal tribe's forefather and make him control his later generations. I'm here this time to observe and learn from the experience at your festival. I hope you can understand me. Singh took a deep breath and squeezed a smile. Turning around, his eyes were so cold. All of a sudden, a brutal soul attacked the remaining members of the Earthgal tribe delegation. In their screeching, the Earthgal tribe warriors were torn apart. Eventually, their souls were swallowed. The remaining members of the Earthgal tribe were eliminated shortly after. The onlookers felt so chilled that their hair rised. They were scared because of Singh's wicked deed. I didn't know anything. They deceived me and covered my eyes with lies. Yeah, I've made up for it. Brother Dragon Lizard, I wonder if you feel satisfied now? Singh chuckled and retrieved his brutal soul. He didn't even bat an eye on the pulp of flesh on the ground where the Earthgal tribe members had just stood. So cruel. Yuan Mo mumbled. The masked woman of the Phantom Clan was a little bewildered. Singh is indeed ruthless. He's worthy of his reputation. To receive Dragon Lizard's approval, he didn't hesitate to destroy the others. Right, he has guts. No wonder why he's the commander of the Soul Clan. Fierce. Then, she turned to look at Forefather Dragon Lizard. The onlookers also turned to him. They wanted to see how Dragon Lizard would react to Singh's brutal deed. Also, many warriors were observing the stone hall. They wanted to know what was inside the hall. In this vast universe, they could count the number of the absolute beginning creatures with their fingers. This area had no absolute beginning creature after Lizard left. And now, they saw the column of original flame from the hall with the absolute beginning creature's aura. Instinctively, they related it to Lizard. They had become more curious after Forefather Dragon Lizard had covered the entire stone hall. They guessed that it was something important to the Dragon Lizard clan. Although Singh was admitting his mistake to Dragon Lizard, his eyes sparkled as he gazed at the stone hall with a lot of doubts. If you say so, it's done then. You don't need to warn that Earthgal's forefather. If he messes around, I will go talk to him directly. Forefather Dragon Lizard grinned and gave Singh a curt nod. Yeah, the junior inside the hall is related to my precursor. He will stay and cultivate here for a while. People, please. You don't need to be curious. He threw a glance at the stone hall. People became more baffled upon hearing him. When they looked at the stone hall, they were frightened. If someone was related to Lizard, was he an absolute beginning creature too? Ahem. At that moment, the woman from the Phantom Clan gave a slight cough. She walked to Forefather Dragon Lizard from the Water Tribes group. Her pair of azure eyes sparkled strangely as she smiled. I heard that Forefather Dragon Lizard has some immortal pellets, so I came. I wonder what should I do to exchange for the pellets? Dragon Lizard looked at her, his face becoming stern. And who are you? I'm from the Phantom Clan, said the woman. Hearing her, many warriors around screamed in astonishment. Their eyes sparkled in strange light when they focused on her. Many male warriors felt their blood boil in excitement. They heard that the female warriors of the Phantom Clan were born with glamour and they had mastered the mind technique. With a wink or laughter, they could capture people's souls. They were the beautiful dreams in the hearts of male warriors from many tribes. Chapter 1389 Immortal Realm. Chapter 1389 Immortal Realm. Among the 7 clans, the Phantom Clan was mysterious and strange. Men would control everything in the other clans, but the Phantom Clan thought the opposite way. Women ruled the Phantom Clan. They preferred female warriors as opposed to male warriors. Women held high positions in the Phantom clan, and most of the powerful experts in this clan were women. Women were the royals and the overlords of this clan. The Phantom clan women were famous for their glamour that could enchant people. Each of them was outstandingly beautiful with a graceful body, and they all mastered the seducing technique with their innate talents. The Phantom clan had so many warriors, but most of them were female. The woman with the fearsome mask revealing her identity had stirred up the crowd of warriors gathering by the stone hall. They all shot lustful, naked looks at her. Some even gulped as if they hated that they couldn't swallow her right away. The woman giggled and didn't mind those lecherous people. She just looked at Forefather Dragon Lizard and said gently, "I came here with sincerity. I'm very interested in the immortal pellets you have. I wonder what you want to exchange for these pellets. Any materials, scriptures, or experiences that could help me reach the territory ancestor realm. If I consider it useful, you can exchange it for immortal pellets." Forefather Dragon Lizard's eyes became crimson. His muscles twisted with each other and looked like they were made of reinforced concrete. It gave people a sense of toughness and vigor. While talking, he stooped to see Audrey and Shi Yang inside the stone hall. He suddenly looked shocked as strange but brilliant light shot from his eyes. Inside the training chamber, Shi Yang was emitting fire. His fire had many colors including yellow, orange, blue, and even green. So many flames flew around like beautiful butterflies dancing around him and released magical, colorful light. A flow of energy that switched from cold to hot and vice versa continuously burst out. Different attributes of fire gathered and resulted in a hot, red flame. Sizzle. Sizzle. The stone hall was made of some kind of rare black iron and cold jade. At this moment, it sizzled like ice in boiled water. The entire hall melted. While the heaven flames were burning, the massive stone hall was like an ice cream burning above the fire. Shortly after, the entire stone hall became water. Strangely, Audrey was cultivating in front of Shi Yang, but she wasn't burned by the heaven flames. Her cold face turned slightly red, but she was still calm. The soul filaments on her body were retrieved. She exhaled and relaxed. Eventually, she opened her eyes. She jolted up. A cold light glided and she reappeared behind Shi Yang, her face vigilant. Because the entire hall melted, Ivelines, Adams, and Moshe felt so annoyed. They couldn't endure the terrifying heat of the heaven flame, so they had to move away. The hall was melted, revealing Shi Yang, who was sitting cross-legged with closed eyes. People had their eyes fixed on him. They wore different visages and they were astounded. They had felt the aura of the absolute beginning creature's original flame, but Shi Yang wasn't an absolute beginning creature. People were confused. Of course, it wasn't that no one knew anything about this. As soon as Shi Yang was revealed, Sing and the woman from the Phantom clan had their eyes brighten. It seemed like they had recalled something through Shi Yang. Sing especially suddenly laughed. His dark eyes lit up with a greedy light. He licked his lips. He has a wisp of the absolute beginning creature's soul. Excellent. Really excellent. Mwahaha. The beautiful eyes of the Phantom clan woman twinkled. She quietly moved closer to Shi Yang. Forefather Dragon Lizard frowned and spoke in a serious voice. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make it clear again. This kid is our Dragon Lizard clan's distinguished guest. If anyone offends him, you're offending our Dragon Lizard clan." Before he got out of the lava pond, Tu Shiqi and Ya Yun had solemnly asked him to protect Shi Yang. Shi Yang had told him about the soul-refining cauldron, which had saved him from Sing's dark scheme. From the bottom of his heart, he knew he owed Shi Yang a favor. Thus, he proactively agreed with them. "Dragon Lizard, brother, it seems like you have hope for your breakthrough this time. You've been subtle for a long time. It turns out that you found a good seed. You make us admire you a lot." Sing suddenly laughed eccentrically, his laughter rising the hair on people's napes. He assumed that Shi Yang was just a flesh cauldron that Dragon Lizard had found to help his breakthrough. He thought that Dragon Lizard nurtured Shi Yang so he could swallow Shi Yang later to absorb the absolute beginning creature's soul and make it a part of his life soul. Almost every absolute beginning creature could understand dark energy. Shi Yang's realm was a little low. He couldn't fuse all the heaven flames or trigger the memories in the absolute beginning creature's soul he got. If Dragon Lizard refined him and opened the absolute beginning creature's soul, he would break through to Territory Ancestor Realm immediately and get the magical abilities of Dark Energy. The cultivating technique of Dark Energy should be contained in the absolute beginning creature's soul. Sing thought that he knew what Dragon Lizard wanted to do. Sing sneered inwardly as he was actually so excited. This trip to the Dragon Lizard Star was going to help him harvest a lot of good things. Because of the soul refining cauldron, he was sure that Dragon Lizard couldn't escape his hand. After he killed Dragon Lizard, he was going to kill and refine Shi Yang to get the memories of the absolute beginning creature's soul. He was going to break through to the Territory Ancestor Realm quickly and become one of the peerless experts of the Soul Clan. There wasn't going to be anything better than this. Forefather, even when you have him, do you still need the materials and secrets about the Territory Ancestor Realm? The masked woman of the Phantom Clan and Sing had the same thought. They had assumed that Shi Yang was Dragon Lizard's flesh cauldron that he had found to enter the Territory Ancestor Realm. After a while, she furrowed her brows as she thought that she couldn't get anything on this trip. The aliens from different tribes couldn't understand anything. When Sing and the masked woman said this, they understood it immediately. They turned to Dragon Lizard as they all thought that Shi Yang was his flesh cauldron, which he planned to use to enter Territory Ancestor Realm. Thus, they looked at Dragon Lizard, jealous and yearning. Forefather Dragon Lizard didn't know how to deny this accusation. However, hearing them, he also had this evil intention. He looked at Shi Yang in the cultivating room, his eyes uncertain. After he knew that Shi Yang got a wisp of an absolute beginning creature's soul, he knew if he could refine Shi Yang to trigger that wisp of soul, he could enter Territory Ancestor Realm. Anyway, Tu Shi-Chi and Ya-Yun had asked him to protect Shi Yang. The recent treaty he had just established with the mysterious Sky Clan made him hesitant. Watching Shi Yang, he pondered and struggled to make his choice. His eyes switched from dark to bright and around. Audrey was nervous. She felt that the situation was really bad, but she couldn't do anything. She could see Dragon Lizard hesitating and the purpose of Sing and the woman from the Phantom Clan. This situation wasn't good for them. She was so worried. After Shi Yang had revealed his co-soul, the experts had become greedy. They all had a profound realm and she couldn't resist them. Even though she had just reached second sky of incipient God realm. She wanted to do something but she felt powerless. She looked at Shi Yang, then Dragon Lizard, Sing, and the woman from the Phantom Clan. Then, she recognized that she couldn't stop any of them. However, at this moment, her mind flickered as she turned to Shi Yang. The bright, colored heaven flames were like young swallows returning homes. They entered Shi Yang's body. And then, Shi Yang's eyes opened. His eyes were calm and indifferent. The aura around his body was concealed. He stood up in silence. He did it. Too fast. He has broken through to the new realm too quickly. It's unimaginable. Amazing, indeed. It took me 3 years to break through to the immortal realm that year. Yeah, I spent more than 1 year. How could he do it so fast? It seems like Forefather Dragon Lizard has invested in him by giving him an immortal pellet. That pellet is so good to the immortal realm breakthrough. It can even shorten the time needed. The members of many tribes gathering here discussed with each other. They seemed very surprised. The beautiful eyes of the masked woman brightened. She nodded and said gracefully, "Well, that's how the immortal pellet works. Really magical. It can shorten the time a lot. No wonder it attracted a lot of people to this area. Yeah, the result will be better with an immortal realm flesh cauldron. Haha, Dragon Lizard, brother. I wish you can enter the Territory Ancestor Realm soon." Sing laughed and clasped his hand to congratulate Forefather Dragon Lizard. His smiling face was so irritating to many people. Many warriors looked at Dragon Lizard, who wore a strange face now. He looked as if he was struggling a lot inwardly to make a choice. Shi Yang was strangely calm. He stood next to Audrey and raked through the crowd of hundreds of aliens. His eyes scanned the masked woman and Sing, but he didn't shoot a look at Forefather Dragon Lizard. Slowly, A strange smile was pulled on his face. The sea domain of nihility behind him suddenly emitted strange waves of energy. The free sharp space sabers flying around suddenly flew over and hovered above his head like a saw-bladed scythe of death. Asteroids and broken pieces of stars slowly rolled over grumblingly. They swarmed like a shower of rocks and covered the entire area. However, the asteroids and pieces of rocks didn't fall. They just gathered with the space sabers. All hovered still. Crack, crack. The ground underneath Shi Yang had so many terrifying cracks in different sizes. Shortly after, the dragon lizard continent was torn into pieces. Shi Yang stood still and his faint smile didn't cease. He turned to look at Audrey and said casually, "Don't worry. There are many warriors here who can defeat me. However, none of them are qualified to kill me. Haha." Then, dozens of giant space sabers above his heads moved as if they were giving him their confirmation. They maneuvered continuously like giant flying carriages by Shi Yang. The asteroids and broken stars were also stimulated and rolling in the void. Magically, the sharp space sabers and the asteroids didn't collide even a single time. The beautiful eyes of the masked woman from the Phantom Clan looked shocked. She gazed at the keen space sabers and the massive rocks, her soft body shaking. She screamed in fear. Space Power Upanishad and Star Power Upanishad have merged harmoniously. Even Singh discolored in fear. In this sea domain of nihility, the asteroids and broken stars were everywhere. The sharp space sabers were murdering blades. The warriors who could use the asteroids and space sabers were the opponents that people feared the most in this sea domain. Space and Star Power Upanishads were famous for their powerful and mysterious characteristics. The sea domain of nihility could strengthen the power of this sort of warrior massively. Thus, they were the absolutely toughest opponents in the sea domain. This incident had baffled many people because they had never thought that Shi Yang had both space and star power Upanishads. Dragon Lizard had to eliminate his bad thoughts. He smiled and said, "Little brother, you've done me a favor. How could I be so despicable to pay kindness with enmity? Where is my sense of honor?" Chapter 1390 Instigate. Chapter 1390 Instigate. The alien warriors from different tribes were gathering at the center of the continent that Dragon Lizard Star had just transformed into. They all looked at Shi Yang. The sea domain of nihility had many rumors that the absolute beginning creatures could send a wisp of their souls into the warrior's head, which was an emergency exit they prepared. When the right time came, they could replace the warrior. Even if their souls were destroyed, they could resurrect themselves with just a wisp of a soul lodged in someone's head. The warriors with the second soul couldn't activate the memories of the co-soul, which was actually the absolute beginning creature's soul, if their realms weren't profound enough. They would know nothing. However, if another powerful immortal realm expert refined the soul of that sort of warrior, they could absorb the wisp of a soul of the absolute beginning creature. Then, they could obtain dark energy and the secret of the absolute beginning creature's intimidation. They could even learn the supernatural abilities of their power Upanishads. That sort of warriors was the fatty, meaty dish that everyone drooled for. The experts at Third Sky of Immortal Realm would become greedy for them. No doubt that Shi Yang was this type of warrior in their eyes. Even Forefather Dragon Lizard hesitated with many new thoughts after he found out about Shi Yang's secrets. To Forefather Dragon Lizard, there wasn't going to be any method faster than refining Shi Yang to absorb the absolute beginning creature's soul. It would boost him and help him enter the territory ancestor realm rapidly. In this area, there were two experts at his realm, Singh and the masked woman of the Phantom Clan. In their eyes, Shi Yang was also very attractive. Of course, the second-class clans had experts at Second Sky of Immortal Realm and a smaller number of experts at Third Sky of Immortal Realm. Although they hadn't reached the peak, they were qualified to enter Territory Ancestor Realm. If they killed and absorbed Shi Yang, they could reach Territory Ancestor Realm like carps getting over a heavenly gate to become dragons. It was truly irresistible. If Shi Yang didn't show his powerful aura and his space and star power Upanishads, this scene would have become chaotic quickly. Forefather Dragon Lizard was the first one who calmed down. Remembering what Tu Shichi and Ya Yun of the mysterious Sky Clan had asked him to do, He woke up and eliminated the evil thoughts in his mind. He pulled on a tender face to show his attitude. The asteroids, broken rocks, and sharp sabers circled above Shiyang's head with earth-shaking auras. He glared at Forefather Dragon Lizard and pulled a strange smile. He nodded to Dragon Lizard and pretended to be scared. I thought that Forefather would attack me savagely. Forefather Dragon Lizard was a little embarrassed. He just smiled and didn't know how to answer. The corner of Shiyang's mouth twitched as he was cold inwardly. He turned to Audrey and purposely spoke in Desolate Territories language. Are you okay? You've reached second sky of incipient God realm, right? Audrey was frightened. Immediately, she was panic-stricken. Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe, and Tu Shiqi and Ya Yun of the mysterious Sky Clan had told Audrey and Shiyang many times that they shouldn't speak Desolate Territories language in any circumstance because they knew Sing yearned for Desolate Territory so much. They didn't want Sing or the warriors of the Earthgowl tribe to recognize them. Audrey knew that Shiyang was a watchful person. She didn't know why he suddenly became careless at this challenge as he spoke in Desolate Territories language to communicate in front of many people. He had even pitched his voice to make sure many people could hear him. She looked at Sing instinctively. Audrey became so anxious as she found that Sing now looked like a lewd rapist who saw a naked woman. He was so excited and he laughed crazily. He said loudly, I have my iron shoes worn out from searching and I got nothing. But now, I get it without spending a bit of effort. Excellent. Excellent. Shiyang. Audrey sounded bitter. It's okay. I want him to know. Shiyang lowered his voice and sneered. Dragon Lizard brother. Sing swayed and moved toward Forefather Dragon Lizard. With a smiling face, he pointed at Shiyang and Audrey and said, Can you give me one of them? Yeah, that woman is okay. I want one of them alive. I will repay this favor abundantly later. Forefather Dragon Lizard was astounded. Audrey paled. She was so nervous as things had gotten out of the control. It became more awkward and dangerous than she had expected. I invited them here. Forefather Dragon Lizard had a grudge against Sing already. He was trying to press down his anger to calculate later. And now, Sing wanted to take his people away. His flame of wrath seemed to be brimming. He lowered his voice and said, Sing, what are you doing? You've gone against me many times today. Do you think it's easy to bully our Dragon Lizard clan? Sing had planned to wait until the festival ended to attack Forefather Dragon Lizard. However, because Shiyang had carelessly revealed his identity as a warrior from Desolate Territory, he had ignited the flame in Sing's heart. I just want one of them. I will only ask you once, Dragon Lizard brother. Will you give me her or not? He pointed at Audrey. This woman. She's useless to your cultivation, Dragon Lizard brother. Give her to me. I will remember your favor. Wanton. Forefather Dragon Lizard couldn't press down his anger anymore. Sing had shouted at his face in front of many aliens from different tribes. His suppressed wrath burst out. You really think that your soul clan is invincible? I'm going to fight against you. Let's see what power you have to insult me like that. Boom. Just like an erupting volcano, a series of explosions arose from Forefather Dragon Lizard's clone body. Then, the ground underneath him cracked, revealing a deep pit where lava boiled and streamed on his body. Forefather Dragon Lizard's clone became like a flaming fluid that emitted terrifying and fierce energy fluctuations. Boom. 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 The Dragon Lizard continent drifted apart. Pieces of broken stars and asteroids exploded and released formidable shockwaves. The scarlet fire shot out from the lava and turned into a fearsome, gigantic creature like a lizard. That creature was even bigger than the entire mountain range. It wasn't real matter, but it brought earth-shaking momentum. The giant lizard was made of lava energy. It grabbed a big rock and squeezed it off. The shower of rocks shot toward Sing like arrows. I don't want to make a scene. Dragon Lizard, you have turned against my soul clan. I must correct you here. Sing wasn't afraid. He sneered darkly. The brutal souls bobbed behind him. They flew and aimed at the asteroid shower. Crack, crack. The brutal souls pulled and crushed the asteroids into powder before they could reach Sing. That kid is really cunning. The masked woman from the Phantom clan coldly watched the battle between Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing. She suddenly said, if he didn't instigate this, Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing wouldn't have started a battle this early. He has forced them to make it happen earlier. This kid is darkly devious, indeed. She had known that Dragon Lizard and Sing didn't get along well as others had rumored. From their conversation, their fluctuating auras, and visages, she knew that they would fight against each other soon. However, Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing had tried their best to conceal their conflict. Perhaps they didn't want to tear their cunning faces in front of many warriors. However, Shi Yang had instigated them with his words. They lost their minds and began to attack each other crazily. As soon as the battle started, she had focused on Shi Yang and became vigilant. At this moment, Shi Yang's face changed. The space energy emerged layers over layers on his body, which guided the asteroids above his head to move around like windmills. Adams, Ivelines, and Moshe of the Heavenly Eye clan together with Audrey were pulled toward a spinning asteroid. That asteroid moved like a shuttle between the spatial waves. Adams, Ivelines, Moshe, and Audrey slowly faded as if they were about to disappear. However, Shi Yang hadn't moved a bit. He wore an indifferent visage, but his eyes were so cold. That kid is from desolate territory. We met him on the way here, said Yuan Mo. People from desolate territory aren't plain. Desolate are an extremely powerful absolute beginning creature. Although it has secluded for many years, all the experts who know it have always admired and respected it, said the masked woman in a low voice. While talking, they were frightened as they looked at the void above the continent. The asteroids, broken stars, and space blades above Shi Yang's head suddenly looked like they lost control. All revolved and made a downpour from the sky. The several thousand-meter-long space sabers were dazzlingly white like a shining blade that no one could stop. If they cut someone, that person was not likely to survive. It was the natural, ruthless prestige of the sea domain of nihility. When this brutal prestige was controlled and slashed down from the sky, it was going to be more lethal because of its accuracy. Did he lose his mind? Yuan Mo was frightened and screaming, "Move! Get away from his madness!" The masked woman of the Phantom clan was shivering in fear. Looking at the shining sharp blades above their heads, she couldn't endure it as the twisted space energy was troubling her mind. What does he wants to do? Just like them, the warriors of the other second-class and third-class clans were running for their lives while cursing Shi Yang's entire family. They hated that they couldn't kill him. They could see that Shi Yang was controlling all the broken rocks and keen space blades. Crack, crack. A several thousand-meter-long space saber gashed Dragon Lizard Star. The ground of the continent was like tofu under a knife. A massive crack appeared where lava surged fiercely from deep underground. An earth-shaking groan came from the ground. It was the indignant roar of Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body. Forefather Dragon Lizard's clone fighting against Sing also got hurt. He threw Shi Yang an outraged look and cursed, "What the heck are you doing?" Shi Yang was bewildered and giving him an embarrassed smile. He clasped his fist, my bad, please forgive me." Crazy. He's crazy, right? On the asteroid that had drifted far away from Dragon Lizard continent, Moshe was so worried and pulling her hair. Looking at the chaotic Dragon Lizard Star, she got so fluttered. "What's going on?" "I don't know," Ivelines forced a smile. They all looked at Audrey with the hope that she could give them an answer. However, Audrey shook her head begrudgingly as the others were looking at her. "I don't know. It seems like he's trying to stir up Dragon Lizard continent. It looks like he wants more people dead." Then, she jolted back and stopped talking as she looked pensive. Chapter 1391 Lord of All Skies. Chapter 1391 Lord of All Skies. Shi Yang knew that he was in an extremely good condition. An immortal pellet had helped him break the bottleneck quickie. He had directly entered the immortal realm. In this new realm, his body, the god power ancient tree, and the soul altar had transformed differently. However, the thing that had changed the most was his dark energy. Today, in his body, besides the god power ancient tree as the source of energy, his sea of consciousness also had another source of energy. The god power had nurtured him entirely. His body was filled with abundant energy. Dark energy had changed and boosted his soul altar and made his power Upanishads more exquisite and profound. His host soul now was so vigorous and his soul altar now had an endless source of energy. Each wisp of his soul consciousness could reach out unceasingly. Star and space power Upanishads now had new changes. Thus, he could control the sharp space sabers as much as he wanted. He could even feel the spatial blind spots around. The so-called spatial blind spots were the mysterious spaces that the warriors could never sense. Only experts with profound space power Upanishad could grasp them. They could use the spatial blind spots to hide or burst out furious attacks. Just like a room or a forest with shades, space had some areas that the ordinary warriors could never see. Those areas were called spatial blind spots. Audrey, Ivelines, Adams, and Moshe were standing on an asteroid that wasn't far from Dragonstar continent. They could still watch the battle between Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing and see what was happening over there. However, many aliens on the continent couldn't see their asteroid. It was because the asteroid was staying in a spatial blind spot. Except for the experts with Sing's, Forefather Dragon Lizards, or the Masked Woman's realm, they could find those spots if they sensed very carefully. In other words, in a short time, Audrey's group didn't need to worry about their safety. With the power of the experts with space power Upanishad like Shi Yang, after he had reached the immortal realm, he wasn't afraid of Sing's or Forefather Dragon Lizard's wrath. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The 7 brutal souls were like ominous fiends that hovered around Forefather Dragon Lizard and attacked him. Dragon Lizard sneered and created a massive phantom of a lizard, his real form. The giant scarlet lizard looked like it was made of fire and was wrestling with 7 brutal souls that stirred the entire land. They made Dragon Lizard continent look like it was about to shatter. At this moment, the asteroids and shining space blades above Shi Yang's head were cutting and impacting with the land, tearing the entire continent. When Sing and Dragon Lizard were fighting furiously, many aliens had become greedy and they wanted to seize the chance to capture Shi Yang and kill him to absorb his soul. They thought that they could reach the territory ancestor realm if they got him. Some of them had discreetly and proactively prepared and approached him. However, Shi Yang suddenly burst out crazily and guided a lot of broken stars and asteroids with the space blades, making them a huge downpour on those sneaky warriors. He had killed around 10 warriors of the alien tribes in just a blink of an eye. Those warriors' realms weren't low. Some had even reached second sky of immortal realm. They had underestimated Shi Yang's intimidation and his brutality. The asteroids had blown them off and made them pieces of meat. The space sabers had minced them and left only their souls floating, shrieking and cursing maliciously. Shi Yang didn't dare to show the devouring power Upanishad's ability. He didn't release the black hole and just used his acupuncture points to absorb the energy and essence chi from the dead warriors. As he had just reached first sky of immortal realm, his body was now a sponge that needed a lot of energy. Receiving the energy and essence chi of the dead made him feel so refreshed. I know you want to kill me and refine my soul to help you reach territory ancestor realm. Shi Yang raked through the area, chuckled, and relaxed. Anyone with this idea could come and check. Maybe you can succeed. Alright, I'm here to give you a chance and an opportunity to break through to territory ancestor realm. You shouldn't let it slip away. At this moment, Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing were still attacking each other. Sing hadn't used his great weapon yet. He hadn't activated the power of the soul-refining cauldron as he wanted to wait for the most suitable time when the cauldron would kill Forefather Dragon Lizard in one attempt. Forefather Dragon Lizard was resentful because of Sing's dark deeds, so he didn't want to show mercy. However, he was currently just a clone with limited power. He couldn't kill Sing directly. However, he had another plan, so he wasn't really anxious. He was also waiting for an opportunity. He was waiting for the instant kill attack by Tu Shiqi and his wife Yun. As the 2 great experts couldn't even help themselves, the other warriors, of course, had their own ideas. They wanted to seize this chance to capture Shi Yang and then leave Dragon Lizard Star immediately. Perhaps they could claim victory this time. The tragic death of the others was a big warning to them. Now, They knew that Shi Yang had the power to counterattack. However, as he had just reached first sky of Immortal Realm, they thought that he had only those asteroids and broken stars as his weapon and that he depended on external forces. Gradually, the real experts quietly moved toward Shi Yang. They looked stern and yearning. Should we take action now? Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe was hesitant and asked for direction. Don't rush. The masked woman of the Phantom Tribe had deep eyes. She was several exploding mountain ranges away from Shi Yang. She stopped the Water Tribe from taking rash actions and smiled. That kid isn't as easy to deal with as he seems. If he dares to initiate the battle, of course, he has some good backup. We should just wait and see then. While talking, her line of sight moved around and then fell on the massive pit on the ground. She could feel something strange. Forefather Dragon Lizard was acting strangely. She thought that there was something hiding deep underground. Bursting lightning. All of a sudden, a terrifying roar came. An alien warrior at second sky of Immortal Realm emerged in front of Shi Yang, lightning beams winding around his body like snakes. As soon as the wild snakes left his body, they swelled up and turned into dozens of bucket-sized lightning snakes. Those snakes were lively as if they were real. They could even spurt lightning and icy mist. While dozens of large snakes flew away, they twisted and changed, turning into a curved formation. That formation looked like an electrical net with snakes as the lines that grumblingly snatched over Shi Yang. Rumble. 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 While the snake-like electric net was coming, the earth-shaking lightning and thunder had become more furious as if they wanted to drown Shi Yang altogether. The sky was shadowed by the giant, lightning snakes. Shi Yang frowned. He found that this alien warrior had cultivated lightning power Upanishad to the Immortal Realm, but his real fighting competence couldn't be compared to Lei Di, the immemorial thunder dragon, regardless of the realm or the intensity of god power. They were too different. Stars and asteroids. Shi Yang sat down cross-legged and lifted his head to watch the sky. The pupils in his eyes were as bright as stars. His eyes seemed to cover the stars in the skies as if he was the lord of all skies. The asteroids and broken stars hovering above his head began to lower like a falling galaxy. Rumble. 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 So many lightning snakes in the sky were hit by the asteroids that were even bigger than entire mountain ranges. The meteors shot them and made the electrical beams scatter in the sky. The attack by the warrior at second sky of Immortal Realm cultivating lightning power Upanishad backfired. His body flashed and thundered. He looked charred as if he had just been roasted. Life magnetic field. Shi Yang grinned and shouted again. From him as the center, a vigorous life magnetic field expanded rapidly. Anyone who came near the magnetic field couldn't control their bodies. Their hearts began to beat frantically. Their vitality was triggered and they reddened. They seemed to be pumped with endless energy in just a blink of an eye. However, that energy came from their burning vitality, which wasn't something familiar with them, so they couldn't control it. Their skin cracked and bled terribly. Wounds showed when the vitality was triggered hard and their bodies couldn't endure it. If they couldn't control it, they were going to quickly blow up. Life power Upanishad. The masked woman screamed in fear. Her soft and tender voice became sharp and ear-piercing. Her deep eyes shot out astounding light as if she had just discovered a whole new continent. Explode. Looking at a warrior at first sky of Immortal Realm, Shi Yang grinned. At the same time, a hot look shot to that warrior and it seemed to ignite a sea of fire. The body of that warrior was ultimately inflated like a balloon. He burst shortly after. His internal organs and flesh exploded into pieces and shot everywhere. The scene was terribly bloody. I didn't know he was that strong. Mosha's soft body quivered while standing on the asteroid and hiding in the blind spot. Looking at Shi Yang, she was extremely frightened. Lucky us. We got a good sense and we didn't offend this god of slaughter. Adams forced a smile and felt very lucky. Ivelines was pensive. His face convulsed and he felt so chilled. The brutality that Shi Yang had performed was beyond what they could imagine. After reaching the Immortal Realm, Shi Yang had advanced greatly and his competence was amazing. Audrey was close to Shi Yang but she was so astounded. She knew that Shi Yang was strong, but she didn't expect Shi Yang to be that strong. He was truly powerful, as he could kill second sky of Immortal Realm experts when he had just broken through to first sky of Immortal Realm. It was unimaginable, and it was against the rules of nature. The realms of the warriors in the sea domain of nihility aren't low, but their competences are too ordinary. They're not as fierce as Xian He, Frederick, or Lei Di. Strange, Shi Yang was also surprised. He found that some of the warriors he had just killed had the same realm as Xian He and Lei Di, but the power they showed and their understanding of power Upanishads weren't as powerful as Xian He or Frederick's. They were obviously one level lower than the others. Shi Yang didn't know that the top existences in desolate territory like Xian He and Frederick were the overlords in the area 10,000 years ago. After they had received the power Upanishads from Bloodthirsty, their realms and power had advanced greatly. After 10,000 years of accumulation, they were all formidable characters at the ultimate level. Xian He and Frederick could compare to the same realm warriors from the 7 great clans in this sea domain of nihility. The warriors fighting against Shi Yang here belonged to third-class and second-class clans. They couldn't be compared to the members of the 7 great clans. It was the main reason why Shi Yang felt that they were so weak. Chapter 1392, Conceal. Chapter 1392, Conceal. The asteroids and broken stars in the sky fell, and one warrior cultivating lighting power Upanishad exploded to death. The void above Shi Yang's head became clear. 3 aliens at second sky of Immortal Realm that stormed toward Shi Yang were like moths heading to a fire. They finally showed their fangs. The icy mist, strong winds, and sharp metal power emerged from their bodies, which were enough to tear this continent and dismember the ordinary warriors at first sky of Immortal Realm. Now, Shi Yang without the asteroids and broken pieces of stars flying around him was like a hedgehog without spikes in their eyes. Shi Yang, their delicious meat, squinted. His face was calm as he sat still. The phantom woman gently parted her lips to a smile as she was interested. Her laughter arose when she wormed between the 3 alien experts. Her graceful, voluptuous body quivered and a powerful energy that could collapse the souls rippled through her. P2E. The 3 aliens at second sky of Immortal Realm vomited blood. Their faces were as pale as a sheet of white paper. They clutched their hearts and foreheads, running away even though their chests were bleeding hard. The stronger experts who were waiting patiently had to change their countenances and plans to hide. No one dared to approach recklessly. "You're really fierce," the soft voice that could enchant people's souls arose. She stopped around 10 meters in front of Shi Yang and studied him. Shi Yang furrowed his brows. The woman in front of him was so sexy. Shi Yang almost couldn't control his fire of desire as he saw her round rear end bounce. Her fearsome mask had accompanied her marvelous, seductive body well, giving her a more powerful attractiveness. She made people imagine her face under the mask and become more curious. The scorching aura in the tier of heaven flames changed instantly. A flow of cold energy flooded the sea of consciousness and spread to his entire body. It was indeed chilled to the bones. He had recovered his calmness and said indifferently, "Precursor, what do you want to tell me?" "Nah. Call me Jejia. I like it when you call me that." The woman giggled softly, her voice so tender as if she didn't have any bones at all. "Jejia wants to discuss something with you. If you agree with me, I will help you shoo these annoying bastards away. What do you think?" She raked through the others and said, "Yeah, I know you're fierce. You've just broken through to a new realm anyway. It would be a headache for you to deal with so many venomous snakes. As long as you nod your head, Jejia will treat you well. I will delight you for sure." People gulped as her eyes glided through them. Those who were hiding had relatively high realms. "What do you want me to agree with you?" Slowly, Shi Yang's brows became frosted. To deal with this woman's mind-tricking technique, he had to consume his god power every minute. It was a little tough, though. He was discreetly frightened as he found that this woman from the Phantom Clan wasn't weaker than Sing or Dragon Lizard. "Well, come to my Phantom Clan and become our clan's male guest. Yeah, I can let you marry a girl in our clan. You can freely use the cultivating materials of our clan." The woman had watery eyes, which made people drool for her. The warriors of the other clans cried in surprise. The male guest of the Phantom clan was similar to the non-native officer of the mysterious Sky clan. The Phantom clan offered them materials to cultivate to exchange for their efforts in supporting the clan. Each male guest could choose a woman of the beautiful Phantom clan to be his wife. Also, women of the Phantom clan were famous for their glamour in this sea domain. Many people had yearned for their beauties. She had just invited Shi Yang to join Phantom clan. What a slut! Audrey shouted with a cold face on the asteroid. Moshe threw her a glance and smiled. She knew that Audrey and Shi Yang had an ambiguous relationship. The Phantom clan's invitation had enraged her. Audrey's eyes were like ice arrows shooting toward Shi Yang. Her look carried her soul power. Shi Yang couldn't help but turn around and look at the void in the sky. His eyes seemed to get through the spatial blind spot as he gazed at Audrey. Audrey was stunned. She didn't expect that Shi Yang could see her through such a distance. Audrey's cold face suddenly felt hot and she blushed. She hurried to retreat and hid behind Moshe. Shi Yang smiled and didn't look more. He turned to the masked woman, not interested. The masked woman stopped, her eyes cold. She nodded and said nothing else before walking back to Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe. Then, the warriors here suddenly burst out as if their madness had just been triggered. They became angry and attacked Shi Yang fearlessly. Yuan Mo felt so chilled. He glanced at the masked woman and bent his body. It was the fierce, intimidating power of the Phantom clan. Each woman of the clan had an excellent cultivation base and outstanding competences. They could enchant people when they hadn't recognized it, which made those female warriors able to control the enchanted warriors. This power was innate and every female warrior of the Phantom clan could do that smoothly. Currently, many warriors of the alien tribes were affected. They became bold and fearless, trying to attack Shi Yang explicitly without waiting for the right chance. They didn't even care about their lives. "You're bold," Shi Yang hissed at the woman and stomped his feet. The stone ground underneath exploded grumblingly. Countless pieces of stones swept around like a powerful storm. When the rocks covered the entire sky, Shi Yang became vague in layers of waves rippling. He disappeared abruptly. Dozens of male aliens stormed toward him. 10 of them had reached second sky of Immortal Realm and one even was at third sky of Immortal Realm. Those warriors had lost their minds. They weren't afraid of death and they all wanted to kill him. He couldn't help but decide to dodge the spear. He pumped dark energy into his veins to turn invisible immediately. Naked eyes couldn't see him and the soul consciousness couldn't sense him. He was literally invisible. Even the Phantom woman was surprised. Her beautiful eyes twinkled as she used her power Upanishad to find him. She found it peculiar, indeed. She thought that his space power Upanishad was really marvelous as she couldn't even spot him. Suddenly, her sexy body shivered. She suddenly remembered something, her beautiful eyes excited. It was the effect of dark energy. Her red-painted fingernails dug into her flesh as she was so excited. Her flashing eyes searched around. Boom! A 6-armed brutal soul with a dragon body had punched the giant lizard continuously. Thunder had shaken the entire horizon. Forefather dragon lizard's clone had a red face while rigid muscles on his body convulsed and sent high flames to the void. Then, he flew to the giant lizard and merged with it. "Dragon lizard, you're forcing me." Singh was about to use his real flame. The mountain of souls and spirits under his feet suddenly screeched and shrieked. The 10,000-meter-tall brutal souls flew out. They all had strange shapes and wildly bit the giant lizard. At the same time, a jade bell emerged in Singh's hand. If Audrey and the other 3 could see the bell, they would find that its material was very similar to the 3-legged jade cauldron. The bell itself had so many absolute beginning symbols on the surface too. Tinkle, tinkle. Singh jingled the bell. The symbols on the bell looked lively and they moved like snakes. The chunk of meat that Dragon Lizard had cut off from his body deep underground was shriveling rapidly as the energy and blood chi were taken away. Shortly after, it became dry meat without blood and water. Finally, he takes action. Tu Shi Chi and Ya Yun looked shaken. They immediately stormed to the cave underground. Grrr. Arg. Forefather dragon lizard's real body groaned and roared accordingly. The entire continent shook. Mountains collapsed. Rocks exploded. Dragon lizard star was about to be destroyed. On the ground, Forefather dragon lizard's clone acted well. He clutched his chest and rolled on the ground with a fierce countenance. Sing. What have you done to me? Sing didn't answer him. While using the giant brutal soul to fatally attack the forefather, he didn't stay idle and immediately entered the cave. He wanted to find and kill Forefather dragon lizard's real body underground. The woman from the Phantom clan wanted to find Shiyang. However, when she saw that Sing and Dragon Lizard had some critical changes, her eyes became bright and her thoughts changed. The aliens who were slashing and killing each other after their target had disappeared and suddenly changed their target. They all squeezed to get into the cave that Sing had just jumped into. That cave was oozing lava. Lava oozed out from that cave as it had connected directly to deep inside Dragon Lizard Star, which was leading to Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body. The woman chuckled and gave up on finding Shiyang. She walked to Dragon Lizard's clone that was groaning in pain. She carefully avoided the blood puddles on the ground in her way. It seems like you have the soul refining cauldron in your body. As Sing has attacked you with the soul refining cauldron, I think you can't escape this Kalpa. She loomed over Dragon Lizard's clone and said seriously, "Give me the other 2 immortal pellets. I promise I will save some seeds for your clan. I won't let your clan be eradicated." She turned to Du Lei, Di Feng, and Walker. She said sincerely, "They're at second sky of Immortal Realm. If our Phantom clan protects them and if they can reach the territory Ancestor Realm in the future, your Dragon Lizard clan will have a chance to rise. It's your last chance. I hope you will consider my offer carefully." Forefather. 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 Du Lei and the other 2 screamed, dashing toward with worried faces. Forefather Dragon Lizard's whimpered clone suddenly quieted. A bloodthirsty, ruthless intention emerged in his eyes as he answered calmly. "Well, we Dragon Lizard clan don't need your Phantom clan to put your nose in our business." The Phantom clan woman discolored in fright. Chapter 1393, Goddess Gorgeous Dance. Chapter 1393, Goddess Gorgeous Dance. _O_U. The Phantom clan masked woman pointed her green, onion-like finger to Forefather Dragon Lizard's clone and screamed in surprise. Du Lei and the other 2 were also bewildered. Forefather Dragon Lizard snorted and lifted his head to look at the crocodile brutal soul. He roared and the massive scarlet lizard got more pumped vitality. It rolled and roared like a dragon. Now, it was as powerful as that giant crocodile. Dragon Lizard continent was shaking continuously. It seemed like the sky was about to fall. The flaming lava oozed from many pits and ditches on the ground. The entire continent became red. At the same time, many red-brown rocks were throbbing as if they were some sort of strange hearts. Roaring and bellowing continuously arose from deep underground. It seemed like Forefather Dragon Lizard's true body underground had to endure formidable pain and he was struggling for the last time before his death. The warriors from the smaller clans were frightened when they observed the changes of the continent. They wanted to do something, but they knew they weren't strong enough. Many people now had no interest in the Dragon Lizard clan's bustling festival. They silently left the place and stayed away from this land of trouble. Also, a bigger group of warriors thought that it would be their chance as they were confident in their abilities. Thus, they stayed and hid in the dark to wait for the right chance. "I've acted rashly. Forefather Dragon Lizard, please forgive me," the Phantom masked woman reacted timely. She recovered, smiling and talking in her sweet, soft voice. "Seems like you've prepared well. Right. I hate that Sing of the Soul clan too. I wish for your victory, Forefather." Then, she flew away. After a flash, she reappeared by Yuan Mo of the Water Tribe and said coldly, "Sing will be over this time. Sing is also at the peak of Immortal Realm. He's as strong as Forefather Dragon Lizard. Even if they ambush him, he won't die, will he?" Yuan Mo was inexplicably surprised. The masked woman looked at the lava pond, strange light flashing in her eyes. Tu Shiqi and his wife Yun from the mysterious Sky Clan should be hiding in the ground and waiting for Sing. With Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body, I think Sing can't dodge this Kalpa. The subterranean lava pond is where Forefather Dragon Lizard's true body lives. I'm sure he has refined it to be very strong and tough. Sing can't escape. Yuan Mo was frightened. Since when did Forefather Dragon Lizard and the mysterious Sky Clan join hands? The masked woman shook her head. She didn't answer him, but she thought of another idea. With her magical soul consciousness at third sky of Immortal Realm, she quietly searched around. She came to a new decision. Forefather Dragon Lizard wasn't trapped and Sing couldn't get out of it alive. She knew that she couldn't seize the chance and take the immortal pellets from Forefather Dragon Lizard. Thus, Shi Yang was going to be her next target for her benefits. He had a soul wisp from an absolute beginning creature. He understood dark energy. Absolutely, he was a precious treasure in this world. Even if she couldn't get him for the Phantom Clan, she would never let another force benefit from him. She wanted to check Shi Yang's direction and location. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A brutal soul that had swallowed thousands of departed souls to be stronger was also attacking the lizard together with the crocodile. This brutal soul was the most special among the 7 brutal souls Sing had. It was because this brutal soul had a human form. Although he was dozens of times taller than a normal person, he appeared and acted like a human. This brutal soul was Ming Hong, an expert and Audrey's ancestor. After he was refined and made a brutal soul, when Sing fought against the others, he couldn't control himself. He had to cooperate with Sing to attack his enemies. Right now, he was attacking the giant lizard although he didn't want to do it. A magical energy wave arose deep in his soul. Ming Hong was bewildered while tearing the lizard. A message bloomed in his mind. I am Shi Yang from Desolate Territory, just like you. My friend is called Audrey. She's the daughter of Adele, the current matriarch of Imperial Dark Tribe. An absolute beginning creature called Hui had sent us here to this sea domain of nihility. We are lost. We don't know how to go back home. Ming Hong turned into a brutal soul and joined hands with the 10,000-meter-long crocodile to attack the giant lizard. However, this soul message still echoed in his head. We want to return to Desolate Territory and we want to unchain you too. How can we help you? That voice still talked to him. Ming Hong was so thrilled. Adele's daughter. She's Adele's daughter. He screamed in his soul. He was in the same generation as Ming Hao and Adele's grandfather, so he was about as old as Audrey's great-grandfather. He had taught Ming Hao, so he knew Ming Hao had a blood sister called Adele. Thus, his relationship with Audrey wasn't shallow. Even without this relationship, because Audrey was from Imperial Dark Tribe, he was going to try his best to help them. He knew this as soon as he came and found Audrey cultivating. She's one of us. One of us. As soon as Ming Hong confirmed this, he discreetly communicated with Shi Yang while engaging with the giant lizard. Currently, Forefather Dragon Lizard's clone had advised Du Lei, Di Feng, and Walker before jumping into the ground and leaving only the phantom of the massive lizard created by his energy. That phantom was engaging with the giant crocodile and Ming Hong, leaving them no extra time to help Sing. Thus, Ming Hong didn't have heavy pressure. Although he couldn't control his body, his soul connection wasn't restricted. If Sing isn't dead, I can't be released. If Sing is killed, I can escape. I know the entrance to Desolate Territory. As long as I'm freed, I can take you guys back to Desolate Territory, said Ming Hong. Don't worry. Sing will die this time. I have no doubt. Besides Forefather Dragon Lizard, Tu Shiqi and his wife Yun from the mysterious Sky Clan are underground too. Forefather Dragon Lizard has set up something. If Sing has the guts to come down, he shouldn't dream of running away, assured Shi Yang. Ming Hong was thrilled upon listening to him. He screamed, as long as Sing is killed, I can escape his bind. Then, I will give Audrey a big surprise. What surprise? Ah, it's our Imperial Dark Tribe's business. Don't ask too much. The masked woman from the Phantom Tribe had her dark eyes brightened. She took action one more time. Shortly after, She came to the cave that led to the underground. Lifting her head to look at the crocodile and the lizard fighting, she parted her lips into a smile. While smiling, she rose one arm to pull something. Thud. A grey shadow materialized in front of her on the dusted ground. That was Shi Yang, who had gone invisible. "My good little brother, what are you doing? Sneaking something?" She smiled and agilely walked towards Shi Yang. "Yeah, you and Forefather Dragon Lizard should have some dark agreement, right? I can tell. You have cooperated with Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi of the mysterious Sky Clan. Haha, you little evil runt. You made Sing and Forefather Dragon Lizard fight against each other sooner than planned." Shi Yang felt chilled. Looking at the smiling, approaching woman, he felt a massive mountain press on his soul. That masked woman gave him a terrible threat. Currently, Forefather Dragon Lizard, Sing, and Tu Shi were fighting underground. She thought that it was the right chance for her. She couldn't help but take action to trouble Shi Yang. Crack, crack. Shi Yang's skeleton sounded like metal clanging. So many sharp spikes jutted out from his joints. A pair of bone wings appeared on his back. While his body was transforming, his blood chi rose high. His life energy and power began to surge. His eyes became crimson like blood. The acupuncture points in his entire body gathered the essence chi of the dead warriors. A ruthless light shot out from his head and reached up into the sky like a towering, garnet tree. Thump, thump, thump. His heart beat faster like rapid drumbeats. After each beat, his blood boiled and burned harder. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. With Shi Yang as the center, the broken stars and rocks around suddenly floated up. Dozens of thousands of rocks wildly twirled in the void like stars in a galaxy. A current of powerful star energy came from nowhere and poured into this strange star formation. Boom! That eccentric star formation emitted a cold, eliminating aura. Each starlight beam could even destroy a whole planet. Bunches of beams bombarded the masked woman. The masked woman no longer smiled. Her dark eyes were filled with panic. When the starlight beam shot toward her, her fearsome mask cracked as if it had to bear heavy pressure. "You're heartless. You're so cruel to Jejia. You really do want to smash the flower." The soft body of that masked woman began to twist as she was dancing. Countless illusions of sexy women flew out of her body. Those women wore flimsy, silky clothes, holding jade trays or fruits. Some even were undressing. They smiled charmingly and seducing, and approached Shi Yang. Starlight shone on them. Innumerable illusions of young maids turned into ashes. After one of them was destroyed, the power of the starlight was slightly reduced. The masked woman shivered as if her energy was drained. Eventually, there were no more starlight beams. They were all gone. However, many sexy women were still dancing and floating one after another, giggling while going closer to Shi Yang. They wanted to pull him into their sweet aroma and make him never wake up. "You evil kid. You disregarded my good intentions. You smashed my heart. Yeah, I'm begrudging. I can only invite you to our Phantom Clan. Well, we're going to enjoy the best things there. Don't worry. Jejia won't mistreat you. What the mysterious Sky Clan can offer, we can too. Our phantom women are more beautiful than the mysterious Sky Woman. I'm sure you will sink and you won't want to leave." The masked woman chuckled and looked at so many gorgeous but vulgar women entangling Shi Yang. She finally exhaled in relief. Her goddess gorgeous dance was the exclusive mind-enchanting technique of the Phantom Clan. It worked on every male creature in this world. She had never failed when using this technique. She believed that even he was made of steel, those beautiful women made of her soul consciousness could melt him down. So many goddesses, which were the representatives of lust, were seducing and enchanting as they attacked Shi Yang. Shi Yang had hot eyes as if he was aroused. He stood still and didn't have any reaction while so many gorgeous goddesses were clutching his arms and calves and pulling him toward the masked woman. The masked woman giggled happily. Chapter 1394, Dragon Lizard's True Body. Chapter 1394, Dragon Lizard's True Body. Shi Yang was flying happily in his sweet dreams. He couldn't control himself and he just let himself fall into the enemy's hands. In his erotic dream, he saw a warm, clear river where he was soaking with around 10 hot, voluptuous bodies who were wholeheartedly delighting him. The mind-enchanting technique of the Phantom Clan wasn't a power Upanishad. It was their innate talent, which wasn't different from the third eye of the Heavenly Eye Clan. The mind-enchanting technique aimed at the lusty desires that men hid in their hearts. Through that desire, they were controlled. Usually with his tough mind, Shi Yang didn't yield that way. However, as he had just reached the immortal realm and his acupuncture had just swallowed too much essence qi from the dead, his body was filled with a large amount of negative energy. The negative emotions like brutality, bloodthirstiness, and even lechery he had subdued didn't affect him in normal cases. However, as the masked woman had used the mind technique to seduce him, it was like she had just ignited dry wood. His confined lust burst out and rocketed massively, driving him away from the right direction. The masked woman had chosen the right time to use her mind-seducing technique. The masked woman's eyes were so charming when she gently smiled and danced. More beautiful women flew out from her and entangled with the young man. Shi Yang smiled lustily and proactively dashed toward the masked woman as the sexy bodies leaned against his body. Jie will treat you well. As long as you come to our Phantom Clan, I'm sure you will forget anything but joy. Come. I'm taking you with me. The masked woman's soft laughter could intrude the sea of consciousness. Some male aliens, even though they were very far from her, had their blood boil. Their breathing shortened as they were trying hard to suppress their erotic desires. Soon, Shi Yang was forced to walk to the masked woman while the illusory women she had released were surrounding him. Yuan Mo, don't worry about your water tribe. Our Phantom Clan will take care of you guys, smiled the masked woman. As she saw the strange expression on Yuan Mo's handsome face, she knew that he was also affected by her mind-enchanting technique. She felt disdainful but still smiled at him. I won't involve myself in the matter here. Yeah, you water tribe should leave early too. Her white neck craned as she looked at the dark and cold void. She seemed to call for something there. Swish. A dazzling light shot over. After the intense light vanished, a 7-colored crystal war chariot was exposed. It was in a rhombus shape and twinkling like stars in the sky. She moved quickly and then landed on the war chariot while the illusory women were floating Shi Yang up. They also landed on the 7-colored crystal war chariot. Let's go, her jade-like hand tapped the war chariot. The crystal war chariot zoomed through the darkness like a starlight beam and tried to fly away from this land of trouble. Grorua. Forefather dragon lizard's true body howled from deep underground. Abruptly, 16 asteroids outside the continent happened to be like exploding hedgehogs. They shot billions of flaming spikes toward Dragon Lizard continent. Boom, boom, boom. In just a blink of an eye, the crystal war chariot was pierced through. The flaming spikes had shot through it and left thumb-sized holes on the chariot's body, making it look like a beehive. The control mechanism broke. The war chariot stopped. The masked woman became cold. She looked at Dragon Lizard continent underneath. Her slender fingers clutched Shi Yang's arm. She wanted to run away and sway through the shower of flaming spikes to leave Dragon Lizard continent quickly. Boom, boom. Deep under the ground of the continent came earth-destroying explosions. Dragon Lizard continent drifted into different pieces. Shortly after, the entire continent was divided and turned into a sea of asteroids in just a blink of an eye. A beast of around 10 million meters rose. Its body was garnet and it emerged on the corner of an icy mountain when the continent drifted apart. Its back had humps. Its dark red body looked like a long mountain range that carried hundreds of asteroids. When its back shook, those asteroids exploded. Right after that, the real appearance of the massive beast came to people's sights. It was covered in garnet, flaming scales. It had a fearsome head that looked like a dragon head while dragging a mountain range-long tail. The giant lizard opened its mouth and boiling lava streamed out massively. It was the real body of forefather dragon lizard. It was the real forefather dragon lizard. As soon as Dragon Lizard's true body emerged, the massive lizard phantom that was fighting with the crocodile immediately retreated and disappeared into the dark red eyes of Dragon Lizard. Roar. Dragon Lizard faced the sky and roared indignantly. A stream of lava shot out of his mouth like a meteor. The phantom-masked woman grabbed Shiyang and attempted to escape. The fire on the crystal war chariot had just extinguished and the woman hadn't moved yet before the lava stream covered her. She changed her visage and immediately urged her power Upanishad and God power. The brilliant, rainbow-like energy quickly weaved and created a curtain. The brilliant curtain covers both the woman and Shiyang, protecting them from the lava river. However, it wasn't easy to get rid of this flaming river. She was temporarily confined. She glared at Dragon Lizard's head and found two small dots with the human shape. Unexpectedly, they were Tu Shiqi and his wife Yun. At this moment, they were looking at her, their faces conveying nothing positive. Her bright eyes scanned quickly around to find Sing. She saw helter-skelter Sing flying to the massive crocodile and Ming Hong. Now, he had 7 brutal souls congregated. However, 5 of them were dying and their bodies were shrinking to a third of its original size. The 5 dying brutal souls were the ones following Sing to the ground to kill Dragon Lizard's true body. Evidently, Sing was very injured. He couldn't get what he wanted and he was severely wounded. Dragon Lizard, bother, why do you have to do this? Sing's eyes sparkled. He was pale and bleeding at his mouth, stomach, and back. He sat on the head of the crocodile and said darkly, "You, Tu Shiqi, and Yun ambushed me to wound me. So what? I'm the Su clan's commander. Do you dare to kill me? Do you want your Dragon Lizard clan to be hunted down to the last member? You think the mysterious Sky clan can protect your clan? Dragon Lizard, I'm not interested in the conflict between you and the Soul clan. I don't want to trade with you anymore. I just want to leave this place. Why did you stop me? Do you want to turn our Phantom clan into your enemy too? Do you think you can endure that?" The masked woman from the Phantom clan was trapped inside the streaming lava in the void. Her bright eyes were cold as she shouted. At this moment, many aliens from the small clans discreetly moved away. They knew that the current situation wasn't something they could engage in. However, some of them still hid nearby or observed from a distance. Those warriors were real experts at 2nd or 3rd sky of Immortal Realm. Perhaps their clans couldn't resist the Soul clan, Mysterious Sky clan, or Phantom clan. However, they personally had the power and qualifications to fight against Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sing. Many of them were advancing quietly and taking off from their asteroids, which were now a part of the Sea of Asteroids. Discreetly, they approached the masked woman. They paid attention to Shiyang and tried to capture Shiyang from the masked woman. He was their chance to break through the territory ancestor realm. "Drop Shiyang and I'll let you go. I will also give you an immortal pellet." Forefather Dragon Lizard's true body thundered. His dark red eyes were as big as stars gazing at the masked woman. Then, his massive head turned to Sing and he roared, "Sing, anybody can leave but you. This time, even if I have to use all that I have, I must kill you." Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dragon Lizard's massive claws rose and grabbed a mountain-sized asteroid that he threw at Sing. That asteroid was black and rigid with energy from his body. It could even smash a small-sized planet. His giant claw could even shadow the light from the horizon and it threatened terrifyingly people. Sing wore a cold and dark face. "You don't really appreciate kindness." The massive crocodile underneath him roared and swallowed the 5 dying souls. Instantly, its body and power had increased by 3 times. The brutal soul in the crocodile form slowly became real matter. At this moment, the giant crocodile looked as if it was made of black iron. A dark and sinister aura flew out of the beast. Sing controlled the massive crocodile to use its rigid body to shield the asteroid. Its body then sent many sparks into the void. It had become real. "Kill him!" Sing shouted. The massive crocodile roared at Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body. Sing sneered, took out a bell, and shook it hard. Crack, crack. The massive asteroids underneath cracked. The Soul Clan's soul refining cauldron got out of the ground, flew up, and floated above Sing's head. The 3-legged cauldron was as big as a mountain. It slowly spun above Sing's head. So many mysterious symbols twinkled. They then transformed into countless magical souls. The malicious aura from those symbols was slowly condensing. "Hey, let's discuss a little," Singh suddenly turned to the phantom masked woman. "You and I join hands to deal with Dragon Lizard and the mysterious Sky Clan. Then, you take the kid. I want Dragon Lizard's and Sha'Chi's lives. I also want the girl accompanying that kid. You will receive the 2 immortal pellets from Dragon Lizard. What do you think?" Hearing him, Forefather Dragon Lizard was outraged. Sha'Chi's mind shivered. The masked woman from the Phantom Clan had her eyes brighten as she giggled. "Good suggestion. I'm interested. Well, Forefather Dragon Lizard isn't letting me go. I'll stay then." Her face turned cold as she hissed, "Sing, you deal with Forefather Dragon Lizard. I'll help you defeat Sha'Chi and his wife." Sing was excited. He couldn't help but grin fiendishly. Sing was 1 level weaker than Dragon Lizard and he got hit while fighting underground. Even if he got the Soul Refining Cauldron, an absolute beginning divine weapon, he couldn't deal with Sha'Chi and his wife. However, if the masked woman of the Phantom Clan helped him, he could overturn the situation. He had checked and knew that this masked woman had a profound realm and her competence was deeply immeasurable. If they joined hands, he could take Dragon Lizard to nurture the Soul Refining Cauldron, which was the promise he made to the expert in his clan. Also, he could use Audrey to enter Desolate territory and refine Desolate. If he had to let Yang go to exchange for many things, this business was still going to be excellent for him. Chapter 1395, A Matter of Life or Death. Chapter 1395, A Matter of Life or Death. The masked woman frankly agreed with Singh's suggestion. Forefather Dragon Lizard and Sha'Chi were so tense. Soul change. Singh shook the bell and shouted. The absolute beginning symbols on the Soul Refining Cauldron were like twinkling stars. They suddenly radiated beautiful, divine lights. Those tadpole symbols flew out of the surface of the cauldron and stuck on the giant brutal soul in a crocodile shape. This brutal soul was extremely intimidating when it was alive. Singh had spent hundreds of years refining it and making it the leader of the 7 great brutal souls. It was related to Singh's life, so it was almost his life treasure. The massive crocodile had absorbed the absolute beginning symbols from the Soul Refining Cauldron and its body had materialized. It had been strengthened several times. Unexpectedly, it was almost as strong as Forefather Dragon Lizard's true body. The crocodile faced the sky and roared indignantly. The dark clouds stormed thickly. Lightning flashed and thunder boomed inside the dark clouds as if someone had just summoned demons. Forefather Dragon Lizard looked stern. His scarlet eyes were like eccentric stars with a bloodthirsty aura. Flame refined the earth. Dragon Lizard roared. Lava spurted out from his scaled body. The lava was scorching hot and flooding the entire sea of asteroids as if the ocean had submerged the entire continent. Dragon Lizard hovered in the middle of the boiling lava and created high waves that attacked the giant crocodile. The giant crocodile howled. The torrential dark clouds above its head were like a collapsing mountain. Lightning beams danced inside the dark clouds and struck the lava sea. The giant crocodile forcefully plunged, entangling and tearing Forefather Dragon Lizard's real body. The 2 fearsome, dangerous beasts attacked each other fiercely. They had stirred up the entire place and affected the sea domain of nihility. The asteroids were struck away and flying in many directions. Many warriors hiding in the dark hadn't expected such attacks. The lava covered them and put them on fire. Shortly, they became coals. The warriors with profound realms had retreated earlier. They continued to stay concealed and watched the situation. As Singh began to attack them, Sha'Chi and Yun stood on Forefather Dragon Lizard's head and continuously muttered to him. They told him about the magical features of the cauldron. Also, they were accumulating energy to counterattack Singh. Singh's brutal souls were his source of power. The energies from his body and power Upanishads were poured into the massive crocodile unceasingly. Singh was floating under the Soul Refining Cauldron, gathering his energy and using the bell to control it. The Soul Refining Cauldron was an absolute beginning divine weapon. It was the life treasure of an expert in his soul clan. He couldn't promote the power of the soul-refining cauldron ultimately, so he could only control it by using the bell. Also, it could help increase the power of the crocodile too. He was lucky that he had begged the territory ancestor expert in his clan to borrow the soul-refining cauldron. Otherwise, he would have been hurt more severely underground. Then, he would have had to run away directly. Friend from Phantom Clan, it's your turn. Singh controlled the soul-refining cauldron and shouted. The bell in his hand jingled clearly. The soul filaments flew out and fell on the massive ancient crocodile. The crocodile was boosted one more time. And now, it was even as strong as Dragon Lizard's real body. Ming Hong, the brutal soul, was kneeling underneath Singh and releasing his power to protect him in case someone ambushed him while he was controlling the soul-refining cauldron. I didn't want to get involved, but you forced me. I'm sorry. The phantom masked woman pitched her voice and laughed. One hand of her held Shi Yang while the other pointed at the void. Then, so many pure white lotuses flew out and scattered from her white hand. Those snow-white lotuses bloomed and became as big as an entire room. They were crystal-like and sparkling like most perfect masterpieces. Dated by Novelful. Commander. The show-white lotuses slowly fell. The scorching red area was covered with an icy mist. After one lotus had descended, the world here became even colder. Gradually, 18 massive, snow-white lotuses aligned in the void and created a bigger lotus, which then grumblingly pressed down on Tu Shi and his wife. The ice power Upanishad had frosted the entire world. For the time being, the whole place was dead silent. The burning flame, the furious explosions, and the shaking earth were halted. The world was now frozen. Everything stopped instantly. Frosty galaxy. The masked woman became so chilled, her eyes rigid like ice. At this moment, her cold, malevolent characteristics were revealed. All of her charming, seducing gestures were just a disguise. The ruthless, heartless ice power Upanishad was her real face. The cold energy emitted from her could chill people to the bone. Shi Yang was enchanted by her seducing technique and he had fallen into a dreamy scene where he couldn't recognize his surroundings. Because of her real power, the ice power, bursting out, he felt an icy energy beam emerge in his head. That icy energy was like a cold lightning bolt, which flashed and disappeared into his sea of consciousness. Although it had happened in just a short moment, the intensive light had shone on Shi Yang's mind and woken him up. In that short moment, he had resolutely used the space power Upanishad to seal his eyes, ears, mouth, and nostrils. He used his co-soul to trigger the power Upanishads. Instantly, the devouring power Upanishad appeared as a black hole in his tier of power Upanishads and shook it. At this moment, the graceful, sexy women were still dancing in his head. They served him and treated him tenderly to drown him deeply in his dream. Swallow. As soon as the black hole emerged, so many attractive, young ladies in his brain had become shining pink lights that disappeared into the black hole. The seducing technique that had controlled his mind was cleared quickly. Shi Yang's mind was sound and back in just a blink of an eye. He had used the space power Upanishad to close his eyes, ears, mouth, and nostrils. He had also sealed his sea of consciousness and separated his body. As the masked woman was using her other powers, she didn't recognize his abnormal condition. She didn't realize that he had woken up. One arm of her was still holding him as she was arrogantly attacking the enemies in the void. Her opponents were Tu Shi and his wife Yun. The massive snow lotus created by many smaller ones had covered Tu Shi and Yun. It looked like they were confined inside a bowl. The rainbow light protection on Tu Shi and Yun helped them resist against the cold energy and move around inside the snow lotus. The masked woman observed the snow lotus. She concluded that this treasure was enough to hold back Tu Shi and his wife for a while. She pulled herself together and turned around to see Dragon Lizard wrestling with Singh's crocodile brutal soul. As Singh was continuously shaking the bell to send more energy from the soul-refining cauldron to the crocodile, Dragon Lizard wasn't in a good situation. The soul-refining cauldron was an absolute beginning divine weapon. It belonged to the class of top treasures in this vast universe. Although Singh couldn't actually use its strongest abilities, He could trouble Dragon Lizard a lot by using this technique to send endless energy to the giant crocodile. Seeing the snow lotus of the masked woman confine Tu Shiqi and Yun, Sing was also scared. Luckily, he didn't act arrogantly or start a conflict with that masked woman. Swoosh, swoosh. The tearing wind sounds echoed around the place as if someone was running discreetly. At this moment, Dragon Lizard Star was a sea of asteroids. The island-sized asteroids floated in the void, but they weren't really far from each other. Between some asteroids, the gap was just as big as a slit. If they had some dark schemes, as long as they were careful, they could hide in this area pretty well. The masked woman from the Phantom Clan had a cold and arrogant look. A flow of cold energy expanded from her soft body. The void around her made crack sounds. The entire void was frozen. Two silhouettes appeared under the asteroids on her left and right. They were exposed because of the frozen space. Defy and Dulei, ice cracks. The masked woman shouted. Two cold lights shot out of her mouth. The icy light was like cold sabers with endless energy that thrust into Defy's and Dulei's chests. Thud. The icy light stabbed them and then pierced through their bodies. The blood on Defy's and Dulei's chests was frozen, but they weren't confined anymore. They freely fell on the rocks underneath. Their stealthy ambush failed. The masked woman sneered continuously. She raked through the area and said coldly, "I must have this kid. If anyone tries to take him, prepare to die." The warriors hiding in the dark went numb. They felt like sea monsters struggling on the shore. Defy and Dulei had fatal wounds. The others didn't know whether they were still alive or not. Perhaps these two warriors on Dragon Lizard's side couldn't get up again. The masked woman from the Phantom Clan had finally shown her real competence. Now, the others knew that the Phantom Clan didn't have only the mind technique to establish an alliance with Sing. Yuan Mo didn't retreat as he was told. He stayed far from the battlefield and watched the masked woman show her supernatural power. He was completely chilled. To this masked woman, he still had a beam of desire. He had tried really hard to hide it with the hope that one day they could fondle and cuddle. Anyway, he didn't dare to keep this thought anymore. He didn't dare to linger either. He sighed and said to his tribal members, "We should move now. Immediately. We can't get involved in this battle." He took the members of the Water Tribe and left the place. Finally, he understood why the Phantom Clan could become one of the 7 great clans. They had more than the enchanting technique. Shiyang woke up. He didn't open his eyes and just used dark energy to observe the situation. The dark energy joined his soul consciousness. In that moment, he felt like he had so many eyes that could see his surroundings. Strangely, when he used dark energy to survey, the masked woman didn't realize anything even though she was really close to him. He was so surprised while trying to find a way to change this situation. Tu Shiqi and Yun were at third sky of Immortal Realm and they were still a distance away from the territory Ancestor Realm. However, this woman was like Sing at the peak of Immortal Realm. They were just one step away from that realm. Tu Shiqi and Yun were hurt by Sing before. And now, the difference between their realms had helped the masked woman subdue them. From the current situation, only the Phantom Woman was able to suffocate Tu Shiqi and his wife. On the other side, Sing with the divine weapon from the absolute beginning had gradually gained the upper hand. Shiyang could see that since Sing was severely wounded, if Shiyang struck a close blow, Sing would lose his fighting competence and he could even get killed. Anyway, Sing was cautious. Ming Hong underneath him had prepared to attack anyone who came near. Tu Shiqi and his wife, and forefather Dragon Lizard were in a bad situation. They were in danger too. Changing this situation had become a tough and difficult challenge to Shiyang. Chapter 1396, World Within World. Chapter 1396, World Within World. Dragon Lizard, Tu Shiqi, and his wife were suppressed by Sing and the masked woman respectively. From the current situation, if Dragon Lizard, Tu Shiqi, and his wife didn't have any external help, they couldn't change the situation. Shiyang squeezed his brain for a solution. In the dark, The experts from the small clans were discreetly approaching and staying by the masked woman. They still thought that the masked woman was the key door to break because their main target, Shi Yang, was in her hand. The massive snow lotus was crystal-like and shining, but it was so icy. Tu Shiqi and his wife were confined inside and trying to break it with their best powers. The masked woman of the Phantom clan had to focus on controlling the lotus and watching Shi Yang at the same time. Her situation wasn't really good. Thus, the warriors who were self-confident still kept their eyes on her and waited for the chance to steal Shi Yang and run away within one attempt. In their eyes, Shi Yang was a meaty cauldron that they could use to understand dark energy and advance to an extreme realm, the territory ancestor realm. Shi Yang had sealed his senses and used his soul consciousness made of dark energy to search around. Shortly after, he found 4 alien experts like venomous snakes approaching. The 4 of them were at third sky of Immortal Realm, the same realm as Tu Shiqi and Yun. They were the warriors with the highest realm among the onlookers, and they were also the most patient ones. They had hidden right from the start until now. Harumph. The phantom masked woman snorted as she recognized those people's intentions. Her soft body swayed like a water snake and released a soul-stirring, attractive power. Illusions of sexy ladies with bodies that could make people's noses bleed appeared, moaning with heavy breathing and going toward the 4/3 sky of Immortal Realm experts. At the same time, Tu Shiqi and his wife inside the crystal lotus suddenly gathered all of their powers and struck hard. Their energy accumulated and formed bunches of radiantly light, forcefully stabbing a petal of the lotus. The soft body of the masked woman shook. Her bright eyes turned cold as if she was finally enraged. At the same time, Shi Yang suddenly burst out his brutal, formidable energy. He swayed away from her control quickly. A spinning fantasy boundary stone appeared and ballooned in the wind. After several seconds, it became a blank, white world. That world acted like a giant hand that snatched over the masked woman and the 4 experts under her enchanting technique. The 4 of them were pulled into the new world created by the fantasy boundary stone. A white light flashed. Shi Yang got rid of her grip. He didn't hesitate for even a beat. His energy rose again when he flung another fantasy boundary stone. The fantasy boundary stone received his god power and became a whole new world that was still a white, blank space but much bigger than the previous one. Shortly after, it had converted the world and confined the masked woman and the 4 stealthy expert. Their world was shrouded by another world. The 2 fantasy boundary stones had created 2 worlds. The bigger one covered the smaller one and the smaller one imprisoned the masked women and 4 furtive experts. The 2 fantasy worlds had weakened the connection between the masked woman and her snow lotus. The snow lotus didn't have a continuous energy source to strengthen its imprisonment. Tu Shiqi and his wife finally got rid of it. They looked at Shi Yang, their eyes surprised and excited. Shi Yang gave them a slight nod and raised one finger to point at Sing. Tu Shiqi and Yun understood immediately. They didn't say anything and turned into 2 light beams that headed toward Sing. Shi Yang was floating in the void, his face extremely stern. A flow of his soul consciousness seeped into the words that the fantasy boundary stones had created to find even the smallest commotion. The fantasy boundary stone could create a world in just a blink of an eye, but this world wasn't real and it could exist for only a short time. Shi Yang could explode that world, and the energy created after the space shattered was ultimately so terrifying that even Immortal Realm experts couldn't stand it. However, as Shi Yang had just entered the Immortal Realm, he couldn't build strong barriers for his fantasy world. Thus, when he triggered the space to explode it, he couldn't really hurt her. Anyway, he calculated something else. He was waiting for the masked woman and the 4 experts imprisoned inside the world to break one world from the inside first. Dated by Novelful. Commander inside the immense, dreamy world, the Phantom Woman and the 4/3 sky of Immortal Realm experts looked strange when their sinister eyes observed their surroundings. Their realms were high, but Shi Yang could ambush them and confine them in this world. It was like a boat that capsized in a narrow ditch. Actually, any one of them could break the boundaries of this world. They didn't do that because they knew that the spatial explosion that was going to occur when they broke the boundary was going to be very formidable. They knew that they couldn't get out of this world intact. You guys dare compete with our phantom clan? The masked woman's voice was icy cold and so were her eyes. She was releasing her soul consciousness to check the thickness of the boundary. This world was like a glass ball with spatial barriers as walls. The thicker the wall was, the harder it was to break. Once it exploded, the space shockwaves created from the explosion was going to be very intimidating. She surveyed and scolded, mocking the other four as they kept silent as if they were deaf and mute. No one retorted. It was because their realms weren't as high as this masked woman. They needed to stay quiet so their mind could check the thickness of the spatial barriers. That kid is too cunning. Anyway, he's not strong enough. This spatial barrier is too thin. Dozens of seconds later, the bright eyes of the woman showed her joy. She couldn't help but smile gracefully. While laughing, her jade-like hand rose to the void. The cold energy from her brutally tore the barrier as if there were countless ice sabers. Shi Yang stayed outside the bigger world. His body shook and then he concentrated on sending the soul consciousness into the smaller world inside. When the ice blades attacked the small world, it cracked and was about to explode. At the same time, Shi Yang triggered the bigger world outside. The warriors cultivating space power Upanishad could see the world outside like shattering glass with so many fine cracks. Boom! Boom! 2 explosions happened almost at the same time. The smaller world inside was shattered by the masked woman. Pieces of broken space shot outward. Also, Shi Yang had crushed the bigger world outside and sent pieces of sharp broken space inward. The 2 worlds exploded at the same time and pressed on each other. At that moment, the lethal power of the explosions rocketed several times. Boom! 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 The unceasing explosion boomed in front of Shi Yang. It was like the space had collapsed. The void cracked open. Instantly, the earth-destroying space energy fluctuated. Shi Yang was forced backward. He was frightened when he saw the shockwaves when the big world and the small world exploded at the same time. Even warriors with space power Upanishad like him couldn't endure such an energy attack. If they were shrouded, there was going to be no chance to survive. Boom! 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 4 bodies exploded. It was like a meatball that burst. Then, so many space sabers minced them into blood and meat. Their soul altars were gone altogether. The 4 experts that wanted to use Shi Yang to break through to the territory ancestor realm from their 3rd sky of immortal realm were blown up. Their host souls were all gone. Shi Yang gawked and dropped his jaw as he couldn't believe his eyes. Under the world-destroying shockwaves, a petal of a massive snow lotus flew around and so many space sabers had gashed it. That lotus petal carried a naked body that could be deemed perfectly sexy. The flawless, porcelain body with 2 round, ample breasts, a delicate waist, a snow-like rear, and slender thighs. She appeared with exquisite and beautiful features like a masterpiece. Instinctively, Shi Yang looked at the void underneath. He found the massive snow lotus that had confined Tu Shiqi and his wife had disappeared. Shi Yang didn't know when the masked woman had taken the snow lotus. When the 2 worlds detonated, she already had the lotus protect her from the fatal energy attack. Although her clothes and the fearsome mask were broken, she wasn't dead yet as something turned into smoke. The snow lotus withered. The woman stood in the middle of the flower, her skin like snow and her bones like ice. She was flawless and both her body and appearance were the most magnificent in this world. However, her look was so cold, which was gazing at Shi Yang. Shi Yang felt shivers down his spine under her gaze. He felt anxious as if he was shrouded in an endless coldness. Boom! 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 Shi Yang couldn't help but turn around to watch when more explosions could be heard. He then saw some ice sculpture exploding. Those ice sculptures were alien warriors who had a dark scheme. Their realms weren't high, though. They were frozen and then killed by the woman's wrath. They might have been murdered because they had seen something they shouldn't have. When Shi Yang recognized something was wrong, besides Dragon Lizard, Sing, Tu Shiqi and his wife, who were engaging in a fierce battle, all the others on Dragon Lizard continent were killed. This savage woman from the Phantom clan had killed all the warriors who hadn't left the place. She had even killed a member of the water tribe who stayed to observe and get information. Swoosh! A pure white silky long robes shrouded the woman. Her jade-like, naked legs slowly descended in the middle of the shriveled lotus pod. Her eyes, which were filled with the coldness of an icy mountain, didn't leave Shi Yang or blink once. The strange soul energy emitted from her eyes. Shortly after, Shi Yang's soul altar made crack sounds. Unexpectedly, his soul altar was freezing. Just with a look, she could even freeze the soul altar. Her power Upanishad was extremely terrifying. Your face and body are perfect. I feel like I've used the luck of my 3 lives that I can still be alive after seeing your naked body. Shuddering, Shi Yang gazed at the woman and spoke. Then, he urged the power of the heaven flame. The scorching heaven flames began to burn and move around his soul altar. The cold energy in his soul was eliminated. The heaven flame continued to move around his body. He gradually resumed his normal conditions. He glared at the woman while his body became vague and invisible. The bright eyes of the phantom woman were so cold. The massive snow lotus around her dissolved and created smaller snow lotuses, which revolved like snowballs around her. She was ashen when she put on the fearsome mask one more time to cover her extremely stunning appearance. "You can't hide," muttered the masked woman. Chapter 1397, Turn the Situation Around. Chapter 1397, Turn the Situation Around. Sing. You must die today. Tu Shiqi and his wife were yelling and attacking Sing. However, Ming Hong stopped them all. At this moment, Sing was helter-skelter. He couldn't focus on controlling the soul-refining cauldron. Tu Shiqi was holding a thunder hammer. When he raised it, lightning flashed and thunder boomed. It was the archenemy of brutal souls. Even with Sing's energy poured into him, Ming Hong didn't dare to resist Tu Shiqi forcefully. Seeing his thunder hammer hack at him, he hurried to dodge. Ming Hong's body sizzled and smoked when lightning from the hammer struck him. Sing didn't have the power to control the soul-refining cauldron anymore. As his anger rose, he decided to risk his life. Souls congregate. The departed souls and ghosts underneath him, controlled by his power Upanishad, congregated and created 2 spirit snakes that coiled around his arms. He roared indignantly and aimed at Tu Shiqi. He opened his arms and the spirit snakes danced, swiftly avoiding Tu Shiqi's hammer and worming toward Yayun's body. Yayun was holding a brocade flag that was embroidered with many interesting palaces. When she waved the flag once, a palace emerged like an illusion and attacked Sing. Her palaces seemed to be able to confine the opponent. How do I kill Sing? A thought popped up in Ming Hong's soul. It was Shi Yang's voice. The Soul Clan cultivates souls. When his soul altar is gone, Sing will die tragically. The brutal souls will swallow him. I can swallow his host soul too. Ming Hong was still fighting against Tu Shiqi, but the soul messages were delivered in his soul so they weren't affected. Swish. A blood streak appeared on Sing's nape and stabbed forward. U.P. Dated by Novelful. Commander Sing's face went cold. He flipped his hands and so many souls like a cloud of locusts flew out and pounded on the bloody sword. Bang! A horde of souls impacted with the bloody sword. After that, the blood halo on the sword dimmed and even the eyes on the sword became a little puzzled. This bloody sword was the very first secret treasures that Bloodthirsty got. It was refined from the spine of an immortal demon expert. In desolate territory, it had never failed. Not many divine weapons could resist this brutal sword. However, in this sea domain of nihility, the blood sword failed at its debut. The souls that Sing had refined had different auras including filthiness, corrosiveness, and acid. Once the treasures of weapons got affected, they couldn't strike with their best. Although the bloody sword was keen, it was also affected and couldn't show its brutality. Roo. Then, Dragon Lizard roared and shook around the entire place. He had finally stopped his defeating position. He stomped on the giant crocodile, pounding and tearing it. The giant crocodile no longer received energy from Sing through the soul-refining cauldron. It wasn't intimidating anymore. Forefather Dragon Lizard had hit it hard so that he even punched the souls out of it. Under such a given circumstance, the crocodile can't endure for a long time. Sing's last brutal soul was Ming Hong, who was also subdued under Tu Shiqi and Ya Yun's attacks. He couldn't really show his savagery. Sing was in a worse situation. Shi Yang had ambushed him, which had enraged him a lot. He looked at the phantom masked woman from a distance and shouted, "Please support me." The snow lotus wildly twirled around the masked woman. One of them suddenly detached and hit a spot in the void where no one hovered. Thud. A silhouette appeared. It was Shi Yang. Shi Yang was dizzy after the hit. His entire body was also frosty and frozen. The masked woman said nothing as she rose her arm to pull Shi Yang. She didn't bat an eye at Sing. "Sing!" Shi Yang shouted all of a sudden after he reappeared. Sing was startled. He didn't know anything when he looked at Shi Yang. He was shaken immediately as he found mountains and seas of corpses in Shi Yang's eyes. Bleeding, cut limbs were flooding toward him with so many brutal thoughts and crazy, bloodthirsty intentions. Sing was lost quickly. Because the masked woman had slaughtered everywhere, the sea of asteroids that were previously Dragon Lizard continent now had hundreds of corpses hovering. Shi Yang had guided the resentful energy and dead energy from those corpses toward Sing's inner world while staying invisible. If Sing was at his peak condition, he wouldn't have gotten ambushed because he also cultivated soul techniques. But Dragon Lizard and Tu Shiqi had wounded him when they fought underground. At this moment, all of his brutal souls had left his body, and Tu Shiqi and his wife were attacking him continuously. It was the time when he was weakest. Thus, the resentful energy from Shi Yang's eyes had finally smashed his mind and sent him into insanity. Tu Shiqi and his wife Ya Yun had been waiting for this for a long time. Of course, they wouldn't let him slide away. They both stormed toward Sing. Strangely, Ming Hong, Sing's brutal soul, didn't stop them. At the moment Sing's soul broke and the giant crocodile was weakened too. Forefather Dragon Lizard seized the chance and hit it harder, making the beast scream unceasingly. Everything was deadly smooth. Tu Shiqi held the big hammer and battered on the crown of Sing's head. Sing's head exploded. The brutal soul Ming Hong was accumulating energy for another attack. He suddenly and heartlessly backfired Sing. He had seized the opportunity and swallowed Sing's host soul in one bite. After that, he urged his power Upanishad to absorb the dying giant crocodile. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Many departed souls were guided toward Ming Hong. After he had swallowed Sing, he became the host soul. When Sing's head exploded, he got his freedom and he had even backfired Sing. Ming Hong didn't hesitate and turned into a cluster of a dark cloud that brought so many souls that Sing had refined away. After a flash, he disappeared. Everything happened so fast that Tu Shiqi couldn't react. He only saw Sing's head explode and many departed souls and ghosts gather by Ming Hong. Then, Ming Hong, the brutal soul, left quickly. "Don't let him go," Forefather Dragon Lizard thundered. A humanoid body appeared in its true body and chased after Ming Hong. "It's Sing. He wants to escape. If we give him time, he will recover soon. Kill him now." Forefather Dragon Lizard didn't know what had happened, so he thought that Sing was running away after using some secret technique of the Soul Clan. He wanted to uproot this threat. Even Tu Shiqi and Ya Yun were bewildered. They thought that Ming Hong, the brutal soul, was Sing. They could never think that he was just a brutal soul that had swallowed the host soul. Tu Shiqi and his wife chased after Ming Hong together with Forefather Dragon Lizard. The masked woman was surprised. She didn't know what was going on over there. However, she immediately turned to Shi Yang. Shi Yang felt cold. He immediately moved further away without any hesitation. While his thoughts changing, the space around him rippled. He wanted to gather with Audrey and Iveline's group. However, as he was about to change his direction, his visage changed. Shi Yang saw Ming Hong flying toward Audrey. When Shi Yang sensed Audrey, he found Ming Hong bring so many souls in a black cluster that entered Audrey's soul altar. He understood it immediately. Ming Hong had seized the chance to backfire and swallow Sing. He had become the host soul and gathered countless souls and ghosts that Sing had refined. He wanted to escape, but Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi had aimed at him. As he knew that Audrey was safe, he decided to choose her as his shelter. I am Ming Hong. I want to fuse with you right now. I need your help to escape those people's pursuit. A voice arose in Audrey's head. Audrey was stunned when she found so many souls appear in her sea of consciousness. The power of those souls made her shiver in fear. You know I won't hurt you. I'm telling you a method. If you do it right, all the souls that Sing had refined will call you master. It's your destiny. And it's also our Imperial Dark Clan's destiny. You should do it immediately, urged Ming Hong. Audrey was resolute. Tell me the method. Open your mind to receive my inheritance. It's the secret technique that Sing of the Soul Clan used to control us. A wisp of Shi Yang's soul consciousness still stayed in Ming Hong's soul. Thus, he knew the conversation between Ming Hong and Audrey. While Ming Hong was giving Audrey secret techniques of the Soul Clan, Shi Yang understood that Audrey's fortune had come. With Ming Hong's inheritance, Audrey's achievement in the future wasn't going to be less than Sing's. The supernatural power Upanishad and the strange energy of the Soul Clan came from the brutal souls that they could tame. Today, Ming Hong had become the host soul and he had seized Sing's attainment for many years. He used them all to strengthen Audrey. Audrey became one of the strongest warriors of Imperial Dark Tribe and she had a chance to be even stronger than Ming Hao. It accelerated to this because Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi were chasing after Ming Hong. They thought that he was Sing, so they weren't going to let him go. Only fusing with someone could save him from this fatal pursuit. We will separate now. Let's meet at the Sea of Annihilation. The Phantom Clan woman is after me. I'm afraid that Forefather Dragon Lizard also has some dark scheme for me. I'm leaving now. You're staying in a spatial blind spot. Don't move. After you've fused with Ming Hong, find a chance to leave. Shi Yang's soul message echoed in Audrey's and Ming Hong's souls. After that, he unilaterally cut off the connection. Then, Audrey couldn't get distracted. She had to fuse with Ming Hong's soul, so she wasn't free to do much. The masked woman was chasing after Shi Yang and he couldn't find Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi to ask for help. Shi Yang was afraid that Forefather Dragon Lizard would act like Sing and the masked woman. They wanted his soul to get a chance to break through to territory ancestor realm. Thus, he had to leave now. Using Heavenly Fantasy Star Compass, he continuously urged the space power Upanishad to cross through the voids in just a blink of an eye. When the warriors with space power Upanishad wanted to run away, they had advantages that no one could compare to. At this moment, he was using these advantages and moving like a beam of starlight that people couldn't locate. He flashed and then disappeared, shifting through different spatial blind spots or corners. It was really tough for the masked woman of the Phantom Clan, even though she had reached peak of immortal realm. She had to use a lot of efforts and energy to locate Shi Yang. Her spirit, soul, and chi had been massively used. You can't hide. She gritted her teeth and hated Shi Yang to her core. She had even hurt her soul to find Shi Yang. She had to reduce him into ashes. Chapter 1398, Soul as the Sea. Chapter 1398, Soul as the Sea. On a brown-grey asteroid, Audrey sat with her eyes closed. The fierce soul energy rippled through her. Ivelines, Adams, and Moshe, the three members of the Heavenly Eye Clan, gathered by her, their faces stern. They were hesitant on whether they should help her or not. They had witnessed the moment when Ming Hong, the brutal soul, entered Audrey's brain. They also saw so many dark clouds get into her body. At this moment, Audrey's soul energy was fluctuating strangely. They knew that something was wrong. They thought that Audrey was possessed. Sing had tamed that brutal soul. He has Sing's power Upanishad, said Ivelines when he was about to accumulate energy and attack Audrey. I'm afraid we're not an equal opponent to that brutal soul. Adams wore a panicked face. He turned around to watch and was startled. Oh, that's Forefather Dragon Lizard. In between the chaotic energy waves that stirred the sea of asteroids in front of them, Dragon Lizard's humanoid clone, Tu Shi and his wife Yun appeared. They were searching around with worried countenances. However, Audrey and the others were hiding inside a spatial blind spot that Shiyang had tried hard to find. Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi couldn't see them. Unless they quieted down their minds and used the soul consciousness to sense, they couldn't find Audrey's team in a short time. "We can ask them to help," suggested Adams. Moshe shook her head immediately. "They will kill Audrey to end potential trouble. We can't do that." They didn't know that Audrey and Shiyang knew Tu Shi. "What should we do?" "She can't resist the brutal soul. Once it possesses her body, we will be in trouble." Adams felt a flame burn his heart. He pondered and then said, "How about we leave first and ignore them?" "We could do that." Ivlines hesitated for a while, but he agreed with this suggestion. Because even if they stayed, they couldn't help Audrey and the brutal soul could kill them later. "After the three of them leave, we will go. Otherwise, we'll get busted." Moshe sighed and then looked at Audrey. "Sorry, we can't help you. You have to depend only on yourself. I hope you can escape the bind." Dragon Lizard, Tu Shi, and his wife searched around the area and then left hurriedly. Adams and the other two didn't linger. They quietly left the asteroid. After they had flown away, they were stunned when they turned around. There was nothing behind them. It looked like the asteroid they had been sitting for a long time on didn't exist. They were speechless as they knew how special the shelter they had taken was. Also, they understood Shiyang's profound space power Upanishad more deeply. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Not long after they had left, Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi changed their direction and returned to the area. Dragon Lizard immediately stood in their ways. He opened his mouth and sprayed a lava barrier, keeping Adams and the other two inside. Forefather Dragon Lizard looked at them with malicious eyes. He snorted and pointed at them while talking to Tu Shi and his wife. "The brutal soul, which is Sing, has flown to this area. He must occupy one person to avoid our checking. We've searched around. This area has no aura of living beings. Only the three of them who had just gotten out of nowhere." Adams changed his countenance. "We rather kill the wrong ones than let the right one escape," shouted Forefather Dragon Lizard. Tu Shi and his wife frowned. They knew that Adams and the other two knew Shiyang and Audrey. But they also thought that Sing could hide in the soul of Adams, Moshe, or Ivlines. Although that brutal soul had run quickly, it couldn't get rid of them in just a blink, unless it depended on someone's soul. It had fused with someone to avoid their searching. Because of the Phantom Clan masked woman's massacre, the hiding warriors were all killed. In this dead silent sea of asteroids, Adams, Ivlines, and Moshe had strangely survived. Forefather Dragon Lizard and Tu Shi thought that if Sing could escape their searching, he must have entered one of these three. They didn't know that Audrey was still hiding in the spatial blind spot where they couldn't sense or see. "These three. Sigh, never mind. You take care of them." Tu Shi hesitated for a while. He looked begrudging, but he agreed with Forefather Dragon Lizard. They would rather kill the wrong ones than let the right one go. "Lava dissolves." Forefather Dragon Lizard hissed and the lava barriers slowly gathered and covered Adams, Ivlines, and Moshe. The three of them cried mournfully. Adams knew that if he didn't tell them the truth, they would be killed tragically here. "No, no, no. It's not like that. No." Adams cried crazily. Forefather Dragon Lizard was surprised and he lowered his voice. "What? We saw that brutal soul. He didn't occupy us. He didn't affect us, either. The one he has possessed is right over there." Adams pointed at Audrey's location. Naked eyes couldn't see that area. "It's a spatial blind spot. We just got out of it." "Wait a minute," Tu Shi shouted. Forefather Dragon Lizard retracted his arms. He hesitated for a while and then released his soul consciousness at the peak of Immortal Realm to search. Then, his scarlet eyes brightened. Two strange light shots toward the area Adams had pointed out. Swish. Just like a rock wall or space that eroded, the hidden asteroid and Audrey sitting on it appeared. On the grey-brown asteroid, Audrey was sitting cross-legged. Innumerable souls and ghosts like layers of mountain ranges appeared around her. Above her head, Countless dark clouds of souls hovered like black stars. So many departed souls and ghosts were surrounding Audrey while she was wearing a faint, indifferent countenance and had her eyes closed. A minute vortex appeared at her glabella. The vortex was crazily revolving and drawing a lot of souls in it. Adams was so surprised. He thought that Audrey was already possessed and she would be killed soon. At this moment, he didn't feel guilty as he thought that Audrey was already dead. He showed her location, which was also a way to take revenge for her death. A clear soul appeared from the vortex in Audrey's glabella between so many ghosts and departed souls. It was her host soul. Gotcha. Forefather Dragon Lizard sneered. As soon as he saw the soul, he didn't think too much and raised one hand to strike. Yun suddenly screamed ear-piercingly. Hold on. Hey! Forefather Dragon Lizard darkened his face. It's not right. She's not Sing. Tu Shi reacted and pointed at the host soul flying out of the vortex. Her host soul is still alive. She's not possessed. Otherwise, we should have seen Sing's soul there, not her host soul. Forefather Dragon Lizard wasn't ignorant. He had just let his anger control his mind for a while. He was awakened when the other two reminded him. It's not like what we've thought. Tu Shi rubbed his chin and pondered, don't act rashly. We should wait and see here. After she's done, we will know what happened. Forefather Dragon Lizard thought for a while and then nodded. He didn't hurry to kill Audrey. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Audrey's host soul vigorously flew out of her labella. It was like a wizard mumbling an incantation that ran directly into people's souls. Tens of thousands of souls floated by her. They were affected by the incantations and they flew around before entering her head through her glabella. A corner of the soul sea appeared inside the vortex filled with souls. Audrey's host soul was like a fishing net that covered all those souls. A fearsome, massive crocodile suddenly appeared underneath her. Dragon Lizard's face went cold as he tensed instantly. Tu Shi hastily rose his hand to signal Dragon Lizard to calm down. Under the power of Audrey's incantations, the giant crocodile opened its mouth and released brutal souls that it had swallowed. They were 5 out of 7 brutal souls Sing had tamed. Audrey's host soul stimulated them and made them enter the soul sea in her vortex. After the giant crocodile disappeared, many souls floating above Audrey's head suddenly changed into Ming Hong's appearance. Ming Hong, the brutal soul, had a pair of deep and stern eyes as he had his full consciousness. He hovered like a massive ghost behind Audrey and gazed at Dragon Lizard. A soul message was sent to Dragon Lizard. I swallowed Sing alive. Forefather Dragon Lizard was shaken hard. He shouted, what did you just say? I swallowed Sing. He's dead. Ming Hong said and then opened his mouth. Inside his giant, dark mouth, the others could see pieces of Sing's soul, which slowly melted down into smaller pieces. Oh gosh! Yun screamed in fear. Sing had been brutal and arrogant for so many years. In the end, his brutal soul has swallowed him. That's karma. Tu Shi was also surprised. So, Sing is dead now? Forefather Dragon Lizard wasn't certain. Tu Shi and Yun nodded. Forefather Dragon Lizard sighed, his face awkward. It's good that he's dead. We can save ourselves from a lot of trouble. Otherwise, all the members of the Soul Clan would have thought that they could hunt us down. Yeah, I hope that Sing's death will wake up the Soul Clan. They shouldn't be too frenzied. Tu Shi and Yun exchanged looks as they suddenly felt bitter. They understood the Soul Clan deeper than Forefather Dragon Lizard. They knew that the Soul Clan would never let this slip away easily. However, they didn't want to explain this to Forefather Dragon Lizard. The more the Soul Clan hated the Dragon Lizard clan, the more the Dragon Lizard clan had to depend on their clan. They had to take the same boat as the mysterious Sky Clan. It was the result that they had desired. They didn't discuss more and just watched Audrey and her changes. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.